The Kentucky Wildcats have never been on a walk like this. Ahead, a sellout crowd, the SEC East title on the line. Big Blue Nation hoping to send the Cats onto the SEC championship game for the first time. But to get to Atlanta, Kentucky must beat the defending SEC champs, 6th-ranked Georgia. A football Saturday, unlike any other in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Here in the Bluegrass State, today it's the Dogs versus the Wildcats.
Let's go! We're just getting warmed up, just getting started, already fired up. Yeah, this party ain't nothing like it round here, going down out here. Get it warmed up and get it started. Get it in there! Touchdown! You need a good time, well, I brought
Snell gets the call.
Who's setting it off? You know that's us. You already know we're getting warmed up. We're just getting warmed up.
He's gonna throw.
Touchdown! Kentucky!
Over the shoulder catch, J.J. Holloman.
We're just getting warmed up.
The Home Depot SEC on CBS.
There has never been a football game with more on the line played in Lexington, Kentucky. And every one of the sellout crowd of 61,000 at Kroger Field knows it. We welcome you to the first of 2 top 10 matchups, the Home Depot SEC on CBS. First here in Lexington, 6th-ranked Georgia plays the 9th-ranked Wildcats of Kentucky for the SEC East title. Tonight, number 1 ranked Alabama versus number 3 LSU in Baton Rouge. The Tide can clinch the West. With John Shriffen on the sideline, Rick Neuheisel, Aaron Taylor, I'm Carter Blackburn. In 1950, the Kentucky Wildcats won the SEC and beat Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. So, Rick, it's only been 68 years to get the Cats back in this position.
Kentucky is playing for the SEC East title in football. Let that sink in football. And it's no accident. They are sturdy on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they're the number 1 scoring defense in the country. Offensively, they've run for over 200 yards per game. And they are built in the image of their head coach, Mark Stoops, a self-admitted chip-on-the-shoulder coach. But to get it done, they got to go through Georgia.
They certainly do, and this is a Georgia team that is the youngest in the SEC. 68% of the players are freshmen or sophomores on this roster. So although they're used to playing in these big games, this young team's going to have to step up in its biggest test of the season. Because if the narrative that Georgia is a dynasty in the making is going to continue, this is a must-win for the Bulldogs.
Take a look at the Do Project Smarter, brought to you by the Home Depot. We take a look at this elite Kentucky defense.
Well, I'll tell you what was smart. What was smart was for their leader, Josh Allen, to come back for a senior year. He's stronger, he's faster. You can see the elite pass rush move that has NFL scouts drooling. He's also got a ton of upper-class teammates excited about the challenge today. Here you're going to see another good pass rush, forcing the ball out of the hand of Drew Lock and Cash Daniel, a junior linebacker, making a play. Going to see a lot of this today.
Meanwhile, for Georgia, 7-1 on the year. That 1 loss at LSU. Aaron, the bye week came at the right time because they come back against Florida in Jacksonville, and they seem to correct a lot of these numbers that went wrong in Baton Rouge.
And that's a good news for them if you're a Bulldogs fan, because Kentucky is built a lot like LSU. But this Georgia team showed a lot of resiliency in their game against Florida a week ago. Jake Fromm was masterful, throwing for 240 yards, was outstanding, 6 for 7 and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions on 3rd down, but it was the consistent running game. Holyfield with the body blows, DeAndre Swift with the knockout punch, and then that defense flying around. Useful as they are, 3 turnovers proved to be the difference.
A Kentucky fan told me earlier today, this moment is a dream come true. The Kentucky Wildcats playing for an SEC East title, the number 9 ranked team in the country on their home field. And here come the Dogs. The first Saturday in November with a view of Atlanta all the way to the national championship game in Santa Clara, California. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, GMC, Chick-fil-A, and by Wheels Up. Last Saturday in Jacksonville, Kirby Smart turned up. And then Mark Stoops in Missouri, he was all the way up. And then you flush it and move on and get ready for Georgia versus Kentucky. Both head coaches expect a very physical football game in front of a rocking crowd, and John Shrippen is among it.
Well, when you think about Kentucky, first thing that comes to mind, college hoops and horses. So how does this football team winning change all that? All you have to do is take a look at this student section. No longer can you just walk in and get a good seat. These kids here in the first row, they told me they lined up nearly 6 hours before kickoff. And if you think they only get hyped for basketball games, check this out.
The hardcore football fans who have waited so long for a moment like this around Kentucky are ready to see the Cats play the Dogs for a trip to the SEC championship game.
I'm jealous of those coaches dancing. Nothing like cutting a rug after victory, Aaron. There'll be somebody will be cutting a rug today.
I'm pretty sure AT can lift it pretty high, Rick, if need be after this one.
This player should be happy that I'm not a coach, though. It might throw some backs out.
Georgia won the toss, deferred. Kentucky receives the opening kickoff. Houghton will just let it sail through. So Rodrigo gets back to the touchback streak. Our Chick-fil-A starting lineups, and we begin on this side of the football with the Kentucky Wildcats and Terry Wilson. The sophomore from Oklahoma City began his college career as an Oregon Duck. Scott Frost and Mark Helfrich recruited him. Then everyone left Eugene. Terry ended up at junior college in Kansas, and he very frankly said, I hated it. I'm here now. That's all I can say. Touchdown, Terry's got 8 total TDs this year for the Cats. Benny Snell Jr. in the backfield with him. Play action. Wilson, deep shot on first down. That is caught for a first down on the edge. So move it in a hurry for Kentucky. And now let's take a look at Rick's report on Terry Wilson.
Terry is the consummate dual threat quarterback. He has the ability to affect the game with both his arm and his legs. He just needs to stay on schedule, needs to be on time. Obviously, a great start with that first throw.
Gain of 11 to Isaiah Epps. First handoff. And a minimal gain on the right side. That's Ledbetter who makes the stop. AT, let's take a look at that Wildcat offense.
Well, to win this game, Kentucky has to control the line of scrimmage and wear down a good Georgia front seven, but one that lacks the bulk and depth of their championship defense a year ago. So enter Benny Snell, a tough, physical, patient runner with outstanding vision who leads the SEC and is 10th in the nation with 117 yards a game.
And now Wilson to the outside. That's Bowden, and he is still on his feet, and he may have lost yardage. Forward progress will take it to the 40, bringing up your first third down against that Georgia defense.
Well, Georgia defensively, keep your eye on linebacker Monty Rice. He's Georgia's second leading tackler and was all over the field last week against Florida with 11 stops. Mel Tucker told us that Rice has a chance to be Roquan Smith-esque.
And how about the Georgia defense stepping up? First time they are tested on third down. A somewhat maligned Georgia front seven gets the stop.
Interesting play call there by offensive coordinator Eddie Grand, 3rd and 6. Not wanting to put the ball in Terry Wilson's hands, decides to run the ball with their bell cow, and Georgia does a great job up front.
Adam Anderson, true freshman, in there on the stop with Jonathan Ledbetter. Kirby Smart said they were going to play some of the younger linebackers, Anderson and Tyndall, and Anderson in there on the stop on third down. Nicole Hardman is back. Duffy's kick from the 40. Hardman grabs it at the 12. Slips to the first. Cats he sees. And here goes Mecole Hardman down the sideline. Across the 45. Across the 50-yard line. Hardman is wrestled down finally inside the 25-yard line. Mecole Hardman breaks it for 64.
Seems like it was a classic case of out-kicking your coverage. Just a beautiful punt. And this is the explosion that Mecole Hardman has seen all season long. Special teams does a good job. The skill set necessary to be good in the return game against punts is quickness, and then Hardman puts the speed on and gives his offense excellent field position to start this game.
Jake Fromm and the Georgia Bulldogs get it at the 23-yard line. Elijah Holyfield in the backfield with Fromm. Holyfield takes it. Right side, slips through. Holyfield inside the 10. It is first and goal, Georgia. Edwards makes the stop. The Bulldogs have come out firing in Lexington.
Great job of showing patience here by Holyfield. He's extending the play, sees a lane, cuts back. Kentucky overran it. Great tackle there on the back end by the safety West.
Great patience by a good back to keep the play front side to give himself a chance to hit it out the back door.
From first and goal, Holyfield takes it again. This time, minimal gain. Josh Allen, the terrific defensive end, makes a stop. Let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A starting lineups. Jake Fromm, the sophomore from Warner Robins. Has it really only been a year and a half between the win in South Bend, SEC title, Rose Bowl, Baton Rouge, bounce back, Jacksonville? It's incredible to think through all of that, and you got the 5-star quarterback on your heels, and Jake Fromm has a chance to go 2 for 2 SEC championships. His first 2 years quarterbacking the Dogs. Second and goal. Holyfield, left side, wrestled down at the 4. Third and goal, Georgia, against one of the stoutest defenses in the nation, AT.
Well, well, well. Here we see Georgia offensively down here near the goal line. They got stopped 7 straight times against Florida defensively. Going to be interesting to see what the play call is here from offensive coordinator Jim Chaney. Fromm has some legs and some mobility. Do they give him a two-way go by getting him outside the pocket, or will he throw the football to these extremely talented receivers?
One thing Fromm loves to do here is throw the fade, and we got a matchup down here to the bottom of the screen. Holloman matched up as a fade receiver. They can go over the top or back shoulder.
From third and goal, over the middle end zone, touchdown! Bulldogs, Noto holds it in, and Fromm on third down, touchdown again.
Isaac Nada has been a go-to guy since the end of the first half last week against Florida, where he caught 4 balls in that clock drive right again to finish the half against the Gators. Beautiful effort here, shaking man-to-man coverage and giving Fromm a place to throw the ball.
A perfect start for Georgia. Hardman with a 64-yard return. Holyfield 3 carries to set him up. Nada into the end zone from Fromm. Rodrigo Blankenship is good. A 3-and-out by the Cats in Georgia. Already 7 on the board. From to Nada. Glory, glory to old Georgia. 7-0. Dogs. Fromm gets a TD pass to Nada, but it was all set up by Mecole Hardman's 65-yard return.
Special teams are only 18% of football, but they can make a huge difference. Just a great job of blocks, and Mecole Hardman breaking some initial tackles, and then it's all about the speed to set his offense up with some tremendous field position. They tackle him, and then Fromm hits Isaac Nada against man coverage coming across the goal line. And once again, in back-to-back weeks, Georgia is on the board early They got up 10-0 on that Florida team a week ago, and they're off to a heck of a start here this afternoon.
When you have that kind of play in special teams, it almost serves as a turnover because it's such a field position changing play. You put the defense into a sudden change type mentality, and Georgia was able to capitalize on the big punt return.
Blankenship, touchback, Kentucky at the 25. So let's take a look at today's questions, beginning with you, Mr. Taylor.
Well, today's football game is probably going to be a glorified inside run drill, so who can run the football better will have a tremendous impact on the outcome of this game. Georgia this season 220, Kentucky 214. This is a fair fight. Whoever wins that fight could win this game.
Time of possession is important. Who can stay on the field here? Both these teams want to run the football today, and who can make the third down conversions? Already Kentucky missed on their first third down, and we saw what Georgia just did.
They got stopped on first down. That first down efficiency going to be crucial here for Kentucky today.
Absolutely.
Terry Wilson will hand off. Benny Snell Jr. right side, SEC's leading rusher across the 30. Rick, I'm wondering, Kentucky's so hyped. You wonder how they're going to respond. And then through the first 4.5 minutes, nothing has gone their way.
Sometimes when you take one on the chin like this, it kind of shocks you back into reality because this is a surreal environment right now.
There is a Bulldog down. That is DeAndre Walker, linebacker. And this has been one of the big shuffle spots amongst the four linebackers for Georgia. You lose led by Roquan Smith, an elite group last year. And as the Georgia training staff tends to DeAndre Walker, the senior from Fairburn, we step aside. 7-0 Bulldogs in Lexington. Want your sports news and highlights straight without the noise? Stream CBS Sports HQ, the all-new 24/7 sports news network available on your phone, computer, and connected TV devices. CBS Sports HQ, sports for true fans. DeAndre Walker, and Rick, you pointed out, this is a group that has only 10 sacks. Walker, the best among them, and he goes down on this play.
Yeah, well, listen, talking to Kirby Smart, he said that we're not as deep as we were a year ago. We're going to have to play with a lot of young bucks. We're going to have to live with their mistakes of youth because their speed is such that they can't keep them off the field.
So Brenton Cox is in. We have two true freshman linebackers now. Snell lined up for the direct snap, and now they motion Wilson in. Wilson 2nd and 4. Go to the outside. Bowden. Blocker on the outside. Dogs converge. Led by Monty Rice, the sophomore from Madison, Alabama, to force 3rd and short.
Well, this is where Kentucky wants to make its hay. They got stopped last time against Missouri 0 for 3 on 4th down. I know that this is a 3rd down play, but these are the things that you want to be able to do to control the line of scrimmage. They got to be able to big back this undersized but athletic Georgia front. Here's their first opportunity.
Benny Snell Jr. said getting stopped. That is not us. 3rd and 1. Snell takes it, and Snell walking like he's talking 1st down Cats.
Benny Snell took a lot of responsibility last week for not making it on 3rd and 1 a couple of times, not making it on 4th down. He said, I should make it every time. I lacked patience. Here, he takes full advantage of a nice job by that front, Aaron.
His vision is tremendous, and that right side of this Kentucky offensive line is heating up.
A 7-yard gain, longest yet for the Cats. Snell, right side again across the 50. Finally shoved down by Richard LeCount, the sophomore, is the Dogs' leading tackler.
Here is what Benny Snell does so well. He's not gifted with great speed, but he has great vision. This gap scheme run is designed to get up inside, but he sees Tyson Campbell trying to get inside, sees the outside edge defender no longer there and takes full advantage.
What allowed that play to go is pulling tight to the double team play side, created a beautiful wall out there on the edge.
First down, fake it. Wilson tosses. That's complete to Bouvier, the senior from Lexington.
Bouvier had a great catch on that final series to win the game.
A couple of them.
Man, that body control when he went down with that ball that was behind him and low was fantastic.
And that is DeAndre Walker headed to the locker room. Again, the Georgia depth in the front 7 takes another hit.
We talked about the youth needing to step up, and we're seeing Brenton Cox have his opportunity here.
Snell motions out. Wilson
Double
perfect
pass.
passing. Yes, it is. And here's Bowden. Bowden, nowhere to throw it, so he's going to try and run it, and there's nowhere to run it either. So you cross the 50 and you try a little trickery, and nothing works for Kentucky.
When you get around the midfield stripe, you want it to look for some chunk opportunities. That's what Eddie Graham was trying to dial up. He had a good first down, giving him 2nd down and 5. Didn't make it that risky a play, but you got to trust your guys to make good decisions. That was a great job by Bowden, seeing his receiver covered and taking the ball under his arm, making it now 3rd and manageable.
That's the best possible outcome you could have had on that special play.
Looking, I think, 2 downs right here, Aaron.
No question, you're across the 50 and your offensive line's lathered up.
Wilson 3rd and 5. Flushed, rolling. Wilson in trouble. Back to the other side of the 50, and forget about 4th down now.
And guess who was there? The replacement of DeAndre Walker, this team's leading sacker, true freshman Brenton Cox. He's a playmaker, and he was the one that ended up getting down the athletic Terry Wilson.
You could see the gleam in Kirby's eye talking about all these whippersnappers on his defense and how excited he was to watch them run around today.
Max Duffy, sophomore from Perth, Australia. A 25-year-old punter, and it's Godwin back. Godwin let it hit at the 15. So Kentucky crosses the 50 and then throws it in reverse. So it is still Old Georgia. 7-0 start.
Adam Zucker in New York with this Ford update. Kentucky had the extra play last week. A&M had a second put back on the clock at Auburn. They had to get fans off the field, and Kellen Mond can't take advantage for A&M. Brought down by Nick Coe. 5 sacks in the game for Auburn in the win, and they're going to be coming to Athens next week. Carter, Aaron, Rick.
Well, Adam, let's take a look at those Dr. Pepper SEC standings, and it's pretty clear in the East. It's going to be Georgia or Kentucky, the chance for the Cats to get to the SEC championship game for the first time. Alabama, a chance to clinch the West tonight.
It's a showcase weekend for the SEC, is it not? And I would point out that all 4 of those coaches involved in these big games are defensive guys.
And because of that, they run offenses that have a physical run-based mentality up front.
DeAndre Swift in at running back. Holyfield has the first 3 carries in the game for Georgia. Fromm gives to Swift. Right side to near the 17-yard line. Taylor on the stop. Let's check with John.
Medical staff has been busy early on. The center, Lamont Gilliard, he has emerged from the medical tent after limping off on their first offensive series. His left knee heavily taped up. He is limping. His return right now is questionable. His backup is true freshman Trey Hill. As for DeAndre Walker, he is in the locker room right now getting attended to. He had a huge gash on his left shin.
Oh my gosh, a triage unit for the Bulldogs up front. They keep losing really good players. Gilliard, their most experienced.
So Hill, the freshman, snaps it to Fromm, gives it to Swift. We have 3rd and short. Let's take a look at Rick's report on Jake Fromm.
Well, Jake Fromm is a high percentage passer. A year ago, he had 4 games where he completed more than 70%. This year already, he's had 6. And as long as they stay in rhythm and have the run game and he gets to throw somewhere between 17 and 25 passes, everything is great. It's when he's asked to do more that he puts it up for grabs, maybe a little bit too often.
On 3rd and 1. Swift, right side, and the Cats get the stop. It is Taylor again. Calvin Taylor Jr., the 6'9" defensive end with a couple of key stops.
This big physical Kentucky defensive line just overpowers the left side of the Bulldogs up front.
This is where you ask if that was a predetermined give, because had Fromm kept the ball there, he would have walked for a first down.
He never keeps the ball. They are looking like they're predetermined, but he will keep it from time to time.
Marta hits it at the 12. Bouvier backing up, fair catch signal. He will have it inside the 25. So finally, that vaunted Wildcat D shows up to get a stop in a 7-0 ball game.
5 yards on the 1.
7-0 Georgia, but a 3-and-out for the Dogs. Tomorrow, what has 60 Minutes found out about the weapon used in most of the recent mass shootings? Plus, ride the biggest waves in the world tomorrow on 60 Minutes. Let's go back, AT, to that third down stop.
Well, Matt House, the defensive coordinator, brings the house by bringing Jamar Watson off the outside edge. But look where Watson's eyes are. All Jake Fromm has to do is keep that ball, and he's going to run to pay dirt. That's something that they're going to notice upstairs, Rick, and the Bulldogs can take advantage of.
If it wasn't a zone read that time, it will be somewhere down the road, because those eyes upstairs, Jim Chaney's been around this game far too long not to take advantage of that opportunity down the road.
First two possessions, punt and a punt. They ended up a first down on the first play of the game, then 3 plays and out. But Terry Wilson is a perfect 4 for 4, 20 passing yards. He's going to hand off to Benny Snell Jr. Waits for the hole to open, gets it across the 30, and DeAndre Baker comes up to make the tackle.
You point out that it's been punt the first 2 series, but if you're Eddie Gran watching this, you're encouraged because there has been first down efficiency. Some of the chunk play opportunities, that double pass, they didn't work, but he's being aggressive, and they are moving the Dogs at the line of scrimmage.
Kentucky averaging 6.7 yards per first down rush.
And after 8 on this one, Wilson out of the gun. Give it to Snell again on the read, but nothing much doing there. And that's Robert Beal, the redshirt freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia. The youth leading the way in the linebacking core for the Dogs.
Once again, Robert Beal is one of the jack linebackers, just going to come from this backside squeezes, but then just uses his acceleration. There's another example where maybe Terry Wilson could have kept it, because Beal crashed on that outside and took the dive away pretty quickly.
3rd and short. Georgia almost jumped. Snell straight ahead, pushing second effort. He appears.
I think he got it.
Yeah, Beal in there on the stop, but that's the tough yard that Kentucky didn't get last week against Missouri. Had to have the miraculous comeback untimed down touchdown to win it, to set this matchup up.
If they didn't get it, I think that we'll go for it.
And Hubert Owens,
on most
referee.
teams, it's a quarterback who's the leader. But without question, the leader in that offensive huddle is Benny Snell. And he was so disappointed in the inability to get the 1 yard a week ago that there's no question they're going to give him these opportunities. Terry Wilson is a fantastic young man, and I think can have a great game this afternoon. But there is no question the heartbeat of this particular offensive team is 26, Benny Snell.
You know, it's funny when we were talking about it.
First down.
When we were talking to him about it, he said, yeah, I know I get 3 or 4 yards on every carry, but I need to be patient, and I get 5 or 6 or 7 yards. I rushed it too much last week, but take a look at the Sneller effort with his career at Kentucky entering today. Phenomenal numbers.
Oh, I don't know. Nelson Muntz's favorite player for sure. Snubbed by Ohio State, told the Washington Post, I'll forever have that chip on my shoulder. The native of Westerville, Ohio. And this is Hughes across the 40-yard line. Hughes still in bounds. Finally written out by Monty Rice.
I got to tell you what, Benny Snell allowed that play to go. Even when he doesn't have the football in his hands, he does a great job blocking. Here he is almost on the hash right there. Bang! That block is what sprang that run. That's a great effort by running backs who often don't like to give great effort when they're not toting the rock, Rick.
Yeah, this is a team effort. These guys understand the stakes today.
Zaire Hughes gets 14. Fish, as they call him. And now back to pound it up the middle. Grant makes the stop on first down. Nothing for Snell up the middle this time.
Formationally, Eddie Gran, the offensive coordinator, likes to run into the boundary. He likes even to put formations into the boundary and force all the defense into the short side of the field, leaving that grass out there for fly sweeps, which we just saw Hughes take advantage.
Wilson is 5 for 5. Sophomore quarterback from Oklahoma City. Wilson dropping, heavy pressure. Hit as he throws. Wilson deep shot, it's incomplete. Intended for Bowden. Julian Rochester blew it up and forced Wilson to release it just a beat early.
Fantastic play by Rochester, because just as you said, Carter, if he could hold that just a fraction of a second longer, he draws a bead and hits that pass, and that would have been a huge chunk play, putting the Cats down inside the 20-yard line.
What freed Rochester up was a simple twist or an exchange of assignments where Rochester went around and the offensive line that's been pretty good in pass protection broke down. Here we are on the 3rd and long. Think screen draw delay here.
Wilson after his first incompletion of the year. Again incomplete. And here comes a flag. Fight for the football. Tyson Campbell in coverage. And Ahmad Wagner, the former Iowa basketball player. That's the 2nd time he's ever been targeted as a Kentucky Wildcat. First in the end zone last week.
Defense.
Eddie Grand couldn't help.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Couldn't help but smile in talking about Ahmad Wagner and getting him involved in the offense. As you just mentioned, a basketball player, great body control. They tried to throw him a fade late in the Missouri game last week. It ended up being the pass interference, the controversial pass interference call at the end of the game. But Wagner has the ability, with his size and his body control, go up and make those kind of plays.
So they haven't hit the big chunk plays through the air, other than the 11-yard gain first play, but you get 15 here. And now Wilson, here's your screen. AT that you were looking for. And apparently the Dogs, they think they have the football. Georgia.
Ball's out.
Awaiting the official signal. There's a flag involved too. Hubert Owens and his crew trying to sort through this one to see if the Dogs, in fact, have come away with a fumble recovery.
Ruling on the field was a fumble by Kentucky, recovered by Georgia. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 71 on the offense, 15-yard penalty. That's number 71's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
AT, that's a huge double whammy for Kentucky. The fumble and then Stenberg, and you've been pointing this out for a while now.
He's a consistent, nasty player, but it adds insult to injury. Not only do you turn the football over, but then you tack on 15 yards to an offense that doesn't need any additional help. And how about Tyson Campbell had the pass interference penalty, comes back up there huge, helping his Dogs get the ball back.
Campbell with a fumble recovery. Georgia 7-0. Kentucky's crossed the 50 twice. One time they took a sack, and now a fumble and a 15-yard penalty.
Devontae Wyatt making the play there. He didn't practice much this week. Now you see Stenberg, the left guard, getting a little extracurricular in there. And as we said, Aaron, we saw a bunch of that watching tape in preparation for this game.
Mel Tucker told us that he plays to the echo of the whistle.
On first down. Toss, wide open, and room to run for Georgia. Holloman makes the grab. Let's take a look, finally, at the starting lineup for Georgia.
Well, Georgia must effectively run the football to win today, and among the best blockers on the team is J.J. Holloman, who we just saw had a huge game a week ago.
Fromm to throw again. Second down, left that one high for Holloman, so tries to go right back to him.
One of the things Jim Chaney loves to do is throw little patterns, three-man patterns into the boundary. Right there, that's what we call a Hank route, where you take the tight end right over the ball, run a hook outside Hank for hook, and they're in the back into the boundary. Had him open, should have hit it.
Kentucky got the stop on 3rd and short, last Georgia possession. Forced the 3 and out. And now the Dogs on the plus side of the 53rd and 4. From to throw again. Guess who again? Holloman. 3 targets, 2 catches, first down, Georgia.
J.J. Holloman is rapidly becoming the favorite receiver for Jake Fromm. He's earned it. Kirby Smart said all he does is work, and as we talk to these coaches over the course of the week, they have to earn their stripes as blockers to earn their chances down the field. But Holloman is becoming go-to guy for old number 11.
The Kentucky defense has allowed only 13 touchdowns on the year. The Georgia score on the opening drive was the first on an opening drive. And now Fromm takes it to Holyfield. A floater, it is high. It is incomplete. Intended for Holloman again. Edwards in coverage. AT, take us through that Kentucky defense.
Well, senior Darius West is a leading tackler on one of the nation's best defenses. He's a physical free safety that likes to set the tone when given the chance. So I expect he and the rest of this experienced secondary are going to have to challenge Georgia's wide receivers, who are extremely athletic. These guys also come up and fill well in the run, but they've been struggling to stop Georgia's offense, who seems to be moving the football up and down the field pretty easily.
Trey Hill still snapping it at center with Gilliard on the sideline. High snap, loose football, and Kentucky gets it back. Josh Allen with another fumble recovery for the Cats. The big-time playmaker from Montclair, New Jersey, gets it back for Kentucky.
Remember, we've got a freshman center in there. Lamont Gellert is on the sideline. Trey Hill, the true freshman, is at the center. You're going to get some of these mistakes, especially when the stakes are as high as they are today, fellas.
And Allen is so fast off that outside edge, reads it right away, but that's the spark play that this Kentucky team needed.
So Hill, the freshman, is getting coached up right now by Lamont Gilliard, the senior, on the Georgia sideline. Cats turned it over on their last possession. Benny Snell Jr., another positive gain, 4 yards, led better, the stop on first down.
That doesn't look like a big-time run, but it's almost as if he has a miner's hat, guys. He just kind of gets in there and forages his way, and as you look up, it's 2nd down and 6, and now Eddie Grand can call his entire offense.
Final minute of the first quarter. Both teams have turned it over on their last drive. Wilson fakes the toss, keeps it, cuts inside. Little patient Snell-like for Terry Wilson, and he has a first down across the 45.
These are the legs of Terry Wilson that were so big in their historic win over Florida. Just a quarterback counter. That'll keep the defense honest, give them something to think about, but also get Wilson's athletic ability into this game plan. This offensive line has found something that it likes on the right side, and they are making some hay there, but they've got to get some big chunk plays. They can't keep nickel and diamond this Georgia defense.
On first down, Snell, of course. Dogs converge, only a 1-yard gain. Tyreek McGee, the junior, comes up to make the stop in the waning seconds of the first quarter. So Georgia, the first team to march down on an opening drive and score against the Kentucky defense. That's the lone score of the first quarter. 7-0. Georgia on Kentucky in the first of our 2 top 10 matchups in the SEC. Kentucky can. The big push around the University of Kentucky. Kentucky can play defense. And Rick, the biggest difference you see so far in the game?
Well, was the punt return by Miko Hardeman. That was the play of the game thus far. And interesting, Dean Hood went to the rugby punt the next time. They're not going to give him any more chances.
Wilson hands off Snell, 2nd and 9. They cross the 50 again. DeAndre Walker is back in the game for Georgia. So you get a senior linebacker back at the jack position. And just in time for 3rd down, AT with DeAndre Walker back on the field.
Well, Georgia's already got a sack today, which is good news for them, and especially since DeAndre Walker is back. Georgia dead last in the SEC coming into today's game with 10 sacks allowed. But when you've got Benny Snell back there and a mobile quarterback, you can't get too far upfield.
Wilson on 3rd and 6. Sips it complete. Bowden has it. Bowden inside the 40-yard line. He's stood up and driven back. J.R. Reed leads the charge, but Kentucky pushes inside the Bulldog 40. That's a gain of 11.
Taking advantage of man coverage, their go-to guy, Lynn Bowden, beats his DB inside on a slant, makes the play. He's got to have a big game for Kentucky to win today. He's got to make some plays, as he did a week ago with that punt return. Well, not since Babe Ruth has somebody called their shot like he did last week in Columbia.
So give me the football on the punt return. The sophomore from Youngstown, Ohio. Mark Stoops' hometown. Wilson looking for a shot. Wilson on the roll, chased, dumps it out of bounds. The right play. McGee gives pressure. Yet again, as soon as Kentucky crosses the 50, they're looking for the deep shot.
That was a fake toss sweep that ended up being a bootleg, but Georgia did a nice job of covering Benny Snell, who looked to be one of the intended targets. Walker was there with him. Wilson had nowhere to go as he boots around. There's nowhere to throw, so he does what he can to extend the play to try to give him a chance and smartly throws it away.
Totally illegal to do so because he was outside the pocket.
Snell keeps it running. I mean, that initial contact, and yet he finds a way through somehow.
These are the body blows that this Kentucky team is setting up Georgia, who is talented, but we've already seen be banged up a little bit. This is counter football. This is double teams on the play side, pulling your backside lineman. Benny Snell is excellent at being patient.
Hat. The coal mines of Kentucky. This guy finds his way through.
I guarantee you Benny would have a colorful one, too. John has more on that later.
Press man coverage by Georgia this time.
3rd and 5, here's Wilson. Design run. Wilson finds the edge and dives for the first down. Richard LeCount had him lined up, and Terry Wilson won the one-on-one.
We talked about dual threat quarterback. This is where you use the young man's legs. Now this is designed to come back inside there, but he jumps outside using unbelievable ability. And remember, he's beating a secondary player. Richard LeCount can run too. Getting outside right there, making the first down, that's a huge play for the Cats.
That 4.4 speed kills, doesn't it, Rick?
I wonder what that would be like to run 4.4.
Oh, we may have some nuances here. The Wildcat. And it's Snell. Snell. That did not fool the Dogs. They were ready. And stop on Snell. That's Tyler Clark, the junior, who makes the tackle at the line, maybe a little lost.
When you have unique formations, as the Wildcat is with Benny Snell now taking the quarterback position, you have game plans for him. Georgia loaded the box right there. Haven't seen much from him as a passer, and until he proves otherwise, they are going to gang up on that particular formation.
But they're also winning their one-on-one matchups. A lot of penetration early on here at certain times inside over the center and guard positions for the Bulldogs.
Wilson, Snell, trying to find a hole right side. Mel Tucker's D. Julian Rochester in there on the stop. And his career as a GA for Nick Saban at Michigan State in 1997.
When we were talking with him yesterday, he said, I feel like we can cover these guys on the outside edge, so we expected coming into this game to see a lot of man coverage so that they could bring their safeties down inside the box to help stop the run.
But they have to be honest in their passing lanes, otherwise Wilson's legs get involved.
On 3rd and 7, Wilson in the pocket, dragging across. Bowden has the grab. Bowden inside the 15. Wilson delivers to Lynn Bowden Jr. First down, Kentucky.
I actually think the inaccuracy of that pass by Wilson allowed that play to be successful because Lynn Bowden had to turn around and come back on the football, which allowed him to be able to shake the defender. That ball...
You're pretty hard on quarterbacks.
I mean, he put it on him, but it allows him to pirouette right here. And again, a missed tackle by this Bulldog defense, something we talked about early on in this game. That showed up a week ago, showing up here at times as well.
Wilson to Snell. First down again. Snell lowers the shoulder pads, pushes inside the 10. Clark on the stop.
This is a fun drive to watch. You can see Eddie Grand's got everything working right here. He's got some tools at his disposal right now. Is he going to play action? Is he going to continue to pound away? 7 points is the absolute mandate right here. And Mark Stoops told us in anticipation of this game, he's not unwilling to take some chances, knowing the stakes.
Snell already has 16 carries for the Cats. Wilson pulls this one on 2nd and 6. Driven down at the 6-yard line. J.R. Reed, DeAndre Walker combine on the stop to force 3rd down from the 6.
Just tremendous eye discipline here by Reed, staying home. He doesn't get fooled, forces it back into the pursuit. DeAndre Walker's there to finish the job.
3rd and 4. So the first down line is at the 2.
Touchdowns are critical down here for this Kentucky offense. We may see some more Wildcat with Benny Snell, and if so, this young man's not afraid to throw it when he's down here.
Snell on 3rd and 4. Bowden with them in the backfield. Penalty.
This drives you
False
crazy.
start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
As an offensive coordinator, it absolutely drives you crazy. You've got to play for that particular situation, and now you've got to look down and find something else. And it's much more difficult now as we're in a condensed portion of the field, and what you can't come away with is no points. Look for a safe throw here.
Georgia substituting after Kentucky substitutes, so now it's into 3rd and 9 on the 14th play of the drive. Timeout, Georgia. 7-0 Dogs. Georgia takes a timeout. It is 3rd and 9 for Kentucky in the red zone.
This defense.
7-0 Georgia. This is 3rd and 9 coming. It is not 3rd and goal for the Cats, but this is already their best drive. 13 plays already, and a huge 3rd down coming, Rick.
Critical that they come away with something. So you want the safest play that you've got that has a chance to score a touchdown. You can see right here, Ahmad Wagner lined up here into the short side of the field. Look for a fade throw using his body and his ability to go up and climb. Basketball skills. Former Iowa Hawkeye basketball player.
And he's lined up underneath DeAndre Baker, who's probably going to be a top half of the 1st round draft pick. This is going to be a heck of a matchup if it happens.
Terry Wilson looks that way. And Wilson is driven down. The 2nd sack of the game by the Georgia Bulldogs. Channing Tindall, the true freshman from Columbia, South Carolina, has his first sack as a Bulldog, and it comes on 3rd and 9.
And he runs over flat out Benny Snell, who the scouts tell me they really like his ability to protect the passer. Baker just in great coverage right there on Wagner. Wagner can go up and get it, but that is a fantastic stop by this Bulldog defense to force the field goal.
Chance Poor hit a 31-yarder at Missouri. This one is good to put Kentucky on the board, but it's Georgia with another sack, and the Bulldogs hang on to the lead, 7-3.
Grab your favorite chair and get ready. It's Saturday night in Death Valley. Death Valley.
You're talking about two great traditions.
Tua throws long. Bama's got a touchdown.
Beating Alabama is why you come to LSU.
Touchdown, Tigers!
All right, Aaron. What are you paying attention to?
This is a battle of heavyweights. LSU has to somehow affect Tua Tagovailoa. They got to sack him. They got to disguise some things, get him off his spot. This Alabama offense is prolific and on pace to score 700 points and 100 touchdowns this year.
I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm going to say, but they got to make Tagovailoa play in the 4th quarter. He hasn't thrown a pass in the 4th quarter. But you know what? LSU does have the defensive secondary to match up with that quartet of brilliant receivers for Alabama. I look for that matchup to be the key.
With our producer, Scott Brandwein, director Mark Grant, Carter Blackburn, Rick Neuheisel, Aaron Taylor, John Schriffen, our booth crew, John Tobias, Wave Robinson. And all of that leads us into our Aflac trivia question. And here it is. Aflac! Who is the only Heisman Trophy finalist in Kentucky history? I mentioned our producer Scott Brandwein because he accidentally showed us the answer yesterday. So
I would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah,
not to pat myself on the back.
I might have gotten that.
I mean, let's not denigrate the.
Let me say how important this drive is for Georgia's offense, because time of possession right now is hugely in favor of Kentucky. 16 minutes and change to just under 5 minutes and change.
Holyfield at the 30. You still have Trey Hill at center. Gilliard still on the sideline. That was the snap that led to the turnover. And so you're leading the Georgia defense on the field a lot.
And this is a defense that doesn't have a lot of depth. So when you take a look at this, 16 minutes to 5 minutes for Georgia, 32 plays Kentucky's run to Georgia's only 13. It serves a good job to underscore Rick's point that Georgia has to have success here to help their defense out.
5-yard gain on first down helps. Holyfield gets nothing on second down. That's Cash Daniel with a big old club on the left-handed junior from Paintsville, Kentucky, on Paint Creek. Forces third down.
He's just a throwback, got that big cast. A linebacker has to be able to key and diagnose right away. Cash Daniel's not the most athletic player, but his instincts and football IQ are huge.
Oh, that's
got some hardware in there, doesn't he?
It actually required him to learn different fundamentals about how to spill blocks, because usually you use your hands. He had to actually learn other ways to get it done.
On 3rd and 5. Out of the shotgun. So here's the snap, handled by Fromm. Draw, Swift. Makes the first cat miss, and DeAndre Swift has enough to move the chains for Georgia. Mike Edwards finally makes the stop.
This is one of Chaney's go-to play calls, and DeAndre Swift is aptly named. Watch the way he's patient, and then boom, makes the best player on this Kentucky defense miss in space.
From Swift again. Tough tackle. Devontae Robinson, the sophomore from Henry Clay High School here in Lexington.
That was a heck of a tackle and finish there, because Robinson missed at first, but he stayed alive and did the roll-around log technique, Rick. You taught that on your teams, didn't you?
I teach that all the time. You know, it's interesting as you look at this Kentucky roster, how many kids are from a circumference of about 5 hours away. Done an unbelievable job recruiting.
Building it back to this point. Number 9 in the country, playing for an SEC East title. Fromm zips it over the middle. It is caught. Ridley crosses the 50. Riley Ridley, leading receiver, coming in for the Dogs.
Really nice protection that time by Georgia up front. He just catches Ridley coming in on a China route. The ball's a little bit low, but Ridley leads his team in touchdown receptions, comes up huge.
Swift bounces it outside, finds the edge. Swift shoving his way near the 40 before Chris Westry finally forces him out.
Westry has to do a better job of keeping contained there. When this is DeAndre Swift, you got to keep him forced back into the pursuit. That injury, and we're going to take a look out here, is one of these big defensive linemen. I think that's Quentin Bohanna, one of about 8 or 9 players that are big loads of laundry up front for Kentucky.
So as the Wildcat training staff tends to Quentin Bohanna, timeout.
Today's Kentucky Lottery.
Monday on CBS, Bulls' new client has lying down to a science. Michael Weatherly stars in a new Bull. Monday, 10, 9 Central, only CBS. So Bohanna is out of the game for now. Tymier Dubose, the senior from Youngstown, Ohio, hometown of the Stoops family, is into the game at nose for Kentucky.
Georgia's using a little change of pace right there, going up-tempo and putting Kentucky on their heels. As I said, a very critical drive. Now they've got a 1st and 10 inside the 40-yard line on the plus side. This is where Jim might look for a chunk play. Take a shot down the field.
7th play, longest drive of the game for Georgia. Their touchdown was on the short field following a Hardman punt return. Holyfield in the backfield. Takes it on 1st and 10. Good push on the veteran left side of that offensive line area.
Sam Pittman's coach group is doing a heck of a job. This is a unit that's been banged up all season long. Andrew Thomas went down a couple different times this year with a left ankle against South Carolina, then a right ankle a week ago against Florida. Then Kendall Baker came in. He got rolled up on. Thomas had to come back in. Sam Pittman doing magic. But we've already seen a turnover by Trey Hill.
Justin Fields is in at quarterback for Georgia. Didn't play at all against the Gators on 2nd and 4. Here is the highly touted freshman from Kennesaw, Georgia. He takes a big pop and gets a 1st down. Jordan Jones. Kirby Smart said yesterday, if we need a boost on offense, we'll play him. Well, I'm rolling pretty good. Go to Fields anyway.
Nothing more than an outside zone there, but you get an extra blocker because you have to account for all the players on the field.
So
it's going to be his first pass. No, I thought we were about to see his first pass as a Georgia Bulldog.
And then he is dropped for a short loss by Quentin Bohanna, who was out of the game for 1 play.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
And now Fields comes out from back in.
It's interesting, the management of Justin Fields, who is admittedly a little frustrated by not getting any role in that Florida game. You wonder if that's a little bit of bone that they're throwing him. There's no question he's got talent, but Jake Fromm, to the point we heard earlier, has played pretty well today. This is a critical 2nd and long situation. Expect
one-on-one opportunity down here at the bottom.
Fromm on 2nd and 11. Lets it rip the other way, and it's complete again to Jeremiah Holloman. His 3rd catch. Robinson on the stop.
Well, any questions you had about ball speed or arm strength with Jake Fromm were answered on that play. This thing whistled right over the interior receiver and the DB and was just a absolute shot to Holloman, who's now within 3rd and 2.
Holyfield with Fromm on 3rd and 2.
There's pressure.
Fromm on the roll. Holloman has it. Drilled as he makes the grab, but he hangs on. And it is 1st down, Georgia, even with a tough tackle from Lonnie Johnson.
Fromm has been on fire today, extremely accurate, picking up where he left off a week ago. He finds his favorite target, the guy that was a playmaker a week ago that we highlighted at the beginning of the game. J.J. Holloman so far today, boys, has been dynamite.
I see what you did there.
You and JJ there.
You couldn't wait to do that.
Having some good times here in Lexington, Kentucky. Second red
and a double.
Fake it from, toss it, incomplete. I mean,
good decision.
Well over Stanley. You like that?
Good decision to throw it away. I mean, obviously what they had anticipated the coverage being was not available. So throw it away and live to play another day. That's the secret of Jake Fromm. That's why Jim Chaney trusts him. They've given him ability to tag things on the run. Again, the independence that he has this year as compared to his freshman season a year ago, which we all know ended up in Atlanta for the national championship, has been really a big step. And he's taken great chance of it. Got a fade opportunity down here to the bottom.
His corner's got to challenge these receivers.
Fromm hands off Holyfield, trying to find the edge inside the 10. Elijah Holyfield is pushed out by Westry, but a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Throwing where you get holding.
Holding. Offense. Number 4. 2-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
That's Mecole Hardman with a critical error inside the red zone, nullifying a huge play. We've already seen Kentucky jump off sides down in the red zone when they were on offense. And that negates a pretty dang good run, taking advantage of the bad angle by the safety, Mike Edwards.
We started the telecast by saying Georgia wide receivers love to block. He was locked on, thinking the ball was going to be inside of him, but he needed to let go when he saw that DB jumping outside.
Swift making catch miss. DeAndre Swift, touchdown, Georgia. What a run from DeAndre Swift.
You look out on this field right now, there is laundry left on the 22-yard line, literally and figuratively. This was a brilliant move by DeAndre Swift.
This is what this kid does. His ability to cut full speed, putting his foot into the ground without reducing his speed, could be unparalleled in college football. We saw it a week ago to ice the Florida game, and we just saw it here in the 2nd quarter.
Blankenship lining up for the PAT. Camarda, good hold. So as Mr. Raftery would say, a little lingerie on the deck. What a run from DeAndre Swift. 20 yards out. Touchdown, Georgia. 14-3.
Yes, you belong to me.
Adam Zucker in New York coming up on the Geico Halftime Report. Houston, BJ, and I catch you up on today's action, including South Carolina coming back from down 10 at Ole Miss. Jake Bentley, big day in the air, but wins it with his feet. 48-44 as we go back to Georgia and Kentucky.
Georgia's longest run of the day, an incredible 20-yard TD scamper by DeAndre Swift.
Made 3 people miss on it. Here's Mike Edwards here. He's going to come up and be able to force this back into his pursuit that's coming, but he's the first of 3 guys to miss tackles, Rick.
Well, you made the right point. He misses the tackle, but he is at least forcing the back into his help. And DeAndre Swift is just too much. It's an excellent individual effort, and Kentucky needed a stop there. We're unable to do it. But if you're a Kentucky fan, take heart. You were down 14-3 a week ago against Missouri.
This is a team that seems to thrive on getting down and crawling their way back in football games. But this is an offense that'll take advantage of your mistakes, and they've done so twice, giving themselves 14 points so far.
Georgia had run only 12 plays. Then they go on a 14-play touchdown scoring drive. That will be a touchback. It'll take back to the 25, and I think most Kentucky Wildcat fans already had this Aflac trivia question in their hip pocket. The only Heisman Trophy finalist in Kentucky history. Can you take a guess who it may be? Yes, Tim Couch in 1998.
Tim Couch was a fabulous player here at Kentucky, a top draft choice in the NFL ranks. I'm told he comes to almost every game, but not able to be here today.
First one he's missed in 10 years, we heard.
Snell takes it. He is nearing 1,000 rushing yards this year. It would be the 3rd straight year for the junior from Westerville, Ohio. His dad, Benny, was a running back, including in the XFL. When his name on the back of his jersey was Thorough, Thoro. It's in thoroughbred. So appropriate. Benny Snell Jr. ended up with the Cats, although now he is limping off prior to second down after 17 carries in the game. A.J. Rose is in, the sophomore from Cleveland.
Completely different running style. A.J. Rose is a tall, gliding, kind of one-cut runner compared to Benny Snell, who's a workhorse.
Wilson zips it complete on the outside. Bouvier holds it in. Out of bounds, minute 43. Here's how Benny Snell Jr. got banged up.
Wear and tear right there, fellas. This is an important play now. Minute 43 left in the half. You just gave up a 14-play drive. We saw what Fromm did last week in a 2-minute exercise against the Gators. You've got to stay on the field right here if you're Kentucky.
I'm going to go to review here. So a de facto timeout prior to 3rd and short. And Georgia has 2 timeouts. So think about that if you can get the 3rd down stop as well. Step aside, minute 43 left in the half. Snell on the sideline.
3:32.
This catch by Bouvier is confirmed by replay official Stan Murray and at the SEC headquarters, Tom Ritter. So that means it is 3rd down for Kentucky. Snell still on the sideline. 2 timeouts for Georgia. Wilson draw. Wilson is wrestled down by Walker.
Timeout,
3rd down
Georgia.
stop. There's Kirby Smart. Immediately gets the timeout called. 1 timeout, and you stop it with a minute 31. That's 40 seconds safe.
It was a brilliant drive a week ago. He wants to put the keys back in Jake Fromm's hands. He hit Isaac Nada, I think, 4 times on that drive last week. They ended up taking a field goal. There were some that believed they should have actually given one more shot into the end zone, but better safe than sorry for Kirby Smart. We're going to see if they can do it again.
Just a beautiful job that time by DeAndre Walker, retracing his steps. Bunchy Stallings even tried to hold him, and it wasn't enough. And Walker walked down the athletic Terry Wilson, bringing up 4th downs.
As remember, it's Kentucky punts here. The biggest play early in the game, biggest play of the first quarter was Mecole Hardman's 65-yard punt return. Max Duffy, the Australian kicker.
Rugby style.
We'll see.
They're not going to give Mr. Hardiman another chance to just take off running. They're going to try to put this ball on the ground, scrum-like, the rugby style.
Hardman had a 70-yard touchdown earlier this year. There's a roll, try to get it away from Hardman and maybe get it out of bounds. Roll hit just inside the 20. Cats get down there and down it. And clock stops with a minute 22. 1 timeout for Georgia. That's a 52-yard punt. the Georgia back. Coming up on the Geico Halftime Report, Adam, DJ, Houston Nutt will get you caught up on a busy day in college football. That's coming up on the Geico Halftime Report.
One timeout left. You've got, you would like to keep that in your back pocket for Rodrigo Blankenship, and we know he can hit something from outside 50 yards, so you're looking to try to get to about the 35-yard line for a chance here.
Keep in mind that Georgia also gets the ball back to start the second half, so making this drive all the more important for the Wildcats.
Swift straight ahead. He had the 20-yard touchdown run last time he touched it. Nice gain on first down and gets out of bounds with 1:16. West pushes him out.
It's always fun to watch when everybody understands the situation. Swift knows, hey, look, I made some yards, but let me get to the sideline and get that clock stopped again.
You're thinking positive yardage, first down, preserving the clock. You cannot take a sack here. Georgia's tied for fourth in the SEC with 43 plays over 20 yards. At some point, they're going to have to take some deep shots against this very experienced secondary.
Nada is the target.
Fromm steps up. Nearly got that sack, AT, but Fromm rolls, gets the first down. Clock stops temporarily, 1:09, and now we'll check the flag.
Nice job defensively by Kentucky there. Fromm didn't have anywhere to throw the football.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 92. 15 yards added to the end of the run, first down.
And now you're about 25 yards away from field goal range with one timeout.
The clock will start on the ready, but Jake Fromm did a great job making the first down. Remember, in college football, the clock stops on first downs as they reset the chains.
I mean, now for Georgia, over a minute, you cross the 40. There's plenty of time.
You're in absolute control of the situation, meaning that you can take these underneath throws. That is it. Oh, they're going to wind it.
Yep.
The clock is going.
Stayed in bounds.
Dogs are on it, but you can take these underneath throws as you stay in rhythm, knowing all you have to do is get to the 33 for Rodrigo Blankenship.
Still not a huge mistake there, even though it didn't get out of bounds, but Cats keep him in. 2nd and 6. Fromm over the middle. Here's Swift across the 50. Swift, perfect. Gets out of bounds. Stopping at 35 seconds, first down.
He's such a weapon. When you can throw a short underneath pass to take advantage of the coverage that doesn't want to get beat over the top and pick up that many extra yards, again, making sure he knows the situation and smartly gets himself out of bounds.
Kentucky's defense, just 13 points per game allowed. Georgia has already outpaced that in the first, and now it's the Wildcats huffing and puffing as Georgia moves down the field at the end of the first half again.
This is as dejected as I've seen this defense, hands on the hips, but they got good pass rushers. Now the time to bring that out.
Fromm right on the edge of field goal range, just pitch and catch to the outside. Godwin, 32 seconds, plenty of time to play
Switch the formation, put Nada to the field. Everybody's paying attention to 18 because of last week. Put Terry Godwin in the slot and hit him on the same route they hit Nada a week ago. So a little 5-6 yard out, and now they're in field goal range.
So what do you do with your shots at this point?
Now you can take a look down the field. A double move right here comes to mind. Opportunities to take a look, but you cannot take a sack.
2nd down, check down, Swift. Another first down, gets out of bounds again, 27 seconds, calm and confident right now for the Dogs.
That's what it really seems like. Jake Fromm is hovering above this situation. He's delivering the football masterfully. He's 11 for 14 so far today, pitching and catching. That accuracy and decision-making that was so helpful a week ago, coming off of arguably his worst game that he played against LSU, has been on display.
And if you're Matt House, the defensive coordinator, you've got to resist the temptation to come after him. You've got to make sure you limit this to a field goal drive.
5 for 5 on this drive and Fromm to the end zone. First incompletion. There's your first shot. Beatty in coverage, intended for Godwin.
This is a great example of experienced players and why, if you have juniors and seniors on your defense, you're going to be better off. Cash Daniel has a chance to panic here, but he doesn't. He ends up letting this go, and there is no flag for hitting somebody as they're going for a ball, getting an interference call that's going to make this an easier field goal.
It was Beatty who laid the lick on Fromm, forcing the first incompletion.
And that incompletion was a big one for the Wildcats because Godwin was open in the seam had that been on target.
second down. Here's the second shot, and it is incomplete. Overthrown, intended for Ridley. This time it's Beatty running step for step. Third down, 18 seconds.
You see Jake Fromm jumping up and down there. He wants that back. He wants that throwback. This is his bread and butter. He made a living as a freshman and also this year throwing into that boundary on fade throws. Riley Ridley gave him exactly what he wanted. He just overthrew it.
Ninth play of this brilliantly executed late first half drive by Georgia. Swift is in the backfield again with Jake Fromm.
Beatty's out, and back up Chris Westry down here at the bottom of your screen on Ridley.
Loose football, and Kentucky is on top. The perfect drive ends in a fumble, and it's Josh Allen with his second fumble recovery of the game.
What a turn of events. That was a risky call. There were 18 seconds left on third down. You were going to have to run your field goal team in and get that kickoff on a running clock. That's about the limit, Aaron, 18 seconds. That was going to take every ounce of coaching that Georgia had done to practice that situation.
And another costly turnover in the exchange. That's just simple execution. On the mesh, we saw a bad snap earlier by backup center Trey Hill. Georgia shooting itself in the foot, and that's exactly the break that the Wildcats needed.
15 seconds in, Kentucky just hands it off. All right, let's get to the locker room now if you're Kentucky. So Georgia rolling, looking like they are going to put more points on the board, but the second takeaway by the Kentucky D, Josh Allen, has kept Kentucky in it. 14-3 at the half. For John Shriffin's halftime interview, the Coach Smart, go to Twitter at SEC on CBS. Now let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York studio.
All right, thank you, Carter. Coming up on the Geico Halftime Report, Houston, BJ, and I will preview the second game of our doubleheader, the Monster Primetime Showdown in Death Valley. Number 1 Alabama and number 3 LSU after this word from your local station.
14-3. Georgia at the half on Kentucky. And now a taste of tradition presented by Sonic. The last time the Kentucky Wildcats won on CBS was against number 1 LSU in 2007. Cats led by Andre Woodson's 4 total TDs, including the go-ahead score to Stevie Johnson, triple overtime, and then the Kentucky defense needed to stop on 4th and 2.
Flynn. Scott. I don't think so. No way. Kentucky wins.
Vern on the call, a delicious taste of tradition in itself. The second half from Lexington is next. In a game that will determine the SEC East Division, it is 14-3 Georgia on top of Kentucky. The 2 fumble recoveries by Josh Allen have played a large role in keeping Kentucky in the game. No second take on that one.
Easy
Carter,
for you
Rick,
to say.
Aaron, John's on the field. All right, AT, 14-3 Georgia, but it hasn't been perfect for the Dolphins.
It certainly hasn't been championship caliber football. The turnovers really being surprising here, but it's Georgia's speed. DeAndre Swift really gave Kentucky some problems defensively. Expect a lot more touches from him. And on the defensive side of the ball, keeping an eye on whether or not Benny Snell could come back will have a huge impact on the second half.
For Kentucky, everything's gone well. They've had 18 minutes of possession time, but offensively, they've been unable to muster up any explosive plays. Their longest pass play has been 14 yards. Their longest run has been 11. Look for Eddie Grand to try to dial up some big plays to change the field position and change the momentum of this game.
A reminder that the Wildcats have never been to the SEC championship game. Their last outright title was in 1950 when Bear Bryant was the head coach. 76 officially they tied for the SEC title, but that's a long story, and we'll just let you figure that one out on your own, because 76 was indeed wacky. So Georgia won the toss, deferred. So the Dogs have it to begin the second half. It will be Harriet right at the goal line, across the 20 and shoved out. Let's check in with John Trippett.
Returned
All right. Problems with John's microphone there, but that's a couple of important updates John has for us, so we will check in with him momentarily. So now the Dogs, and you still have Trey Hill at center, and you heard Kirby tell John right before the half that the snap issues have led to both of those turnovers by Georgia. Elijah Holyfield in the backfield. Holyfield has it. Holyfield stood up. Josh Allen leads the way. 3 years of high school in Alabama, 1 in New Jersey. A huge recruiting win for Kentucky over Monmouth.
Here he is coming off this outside edge. He's such a force. He plays in that up 2-point position, just dominates the backside wing there, and just completely shuts down the rush lanes. That's sort of the first down success that Kentucky needs to continue. They had some earlier in the game, but Georgia really got themselves lathered up there in the second quarter. That's a great way to start this second half.
From 2nd and 8, heavy pressure, flings it complete. On the edge, Ridley slips away. Ridley across the 40-yard line. Riley Ridley gets the Dogs rolling to begin the second half. Edwards finally pushes him out.
When you play man-to-man, then you have to be sure tacklers. We've talked about these corners as being really elite athletes, 6'3", big frame type guys. Derek Beatty's got to make that tackle because he has no help out there.
These guys have missed more tackles in this game through 2 quarters than I saw the entire game against Missouri, and even going back the week before that. Not tackling well at all today.
From, gonna hand off Holyfield. Huge on the left side. Holyfield, I mean, it was wide open once Holyfield beat Chris Westry to the edge.
There's Westry again, coming off the edge and breaking down contain. That's what DeAndre Swift can do. We talked about it right at the top of the half. The entire defense breaks down. He's the last line of defense. He just gets out-athleted.
A 30-yard run. That's the biggest offensive play of the day for Georgia. And now Holyfield will earn a break. He has 9 carries. Swift has 7. DeAndre Swift will take it on first down. Stood up. There's Allen again.
What happens on those long runs,
plays over, doesn't matter.
What happens on those long runs is Jim Chaney builds formations by sinking the outside wide receiver to get up on safeties. Safeties are more prone to tackle and leaving the corner as the unblocked defender. And if they don't what we call crack replace and get in position to create an edge of the defense, they get engulfed, just as we saw Holyfield capture the edge a couple of plays ago.
And clearly Mark Stoops not happy with the way his defense is beginning this second half. From under center, DeAndre Swift.
Great tackle.
Driven down, Darius West, the senior free safety with Jordan Jones. There is a flag down.
It's an interesting decision if this turns out to be holding, which I believe it will be, as to whether you back them up. You've got 3rd and 8. Or do you back them up and take them maybe out of field goal range? I think you probably take this penalty.
Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 25, contact with the crown of the helmet, 15-yard penalty. The previous play is under further review.
Darius West called for targeting at the end of the play. So Jones has him wrapped up. Here comes West.
Yep. Darius West is their leading tackler. We featured him in the opening lineups, but he hits him with the crown of the helmet in the head or neck area. It's a direct blow. That checks both boxes of the criteria for targeting. West is going to get thrown out of this game, and he is one of those 2 physical safeties that has proven an ability to help them tackling on the back end.
A ball carrier is not a defenseless player, but when you hit him with the crown of your helmet and duck your head, trying to protect both players, right? The striker in this particular case, the defender, putting his head down puts him at risk as well.
Forcible contact that goes beyond making a legal tackle is the rule book wording on that. And so West is gone. The senior free safety out of the ball game And on 1st and 10, here goes Holyfield inside the 10. I'll show you that targeting one more time.
You see Jordan Jones right there getting the tackle. It's the dropping of the head at the last moment and then throwing up of the elbow for good measure that has...
The teaching point is you have to see what you're hitting. You cannot duck your head. See what you're hitting. It keeps everybody safer.
It's the old spearing rule that we grew up with in football, one of the 2 criteria. Big loss for the Wildcats.
After a gain of 6 on 1st down, Holyfield takes it again. Holyfield stood up, driven down. Josh Allen leads the way, along with Calvin Taylor Jr., 3rd down for the Dogs.
You see, Georgia's trying to hurry up back to the line of scrimmage. Again, they struggled down here a week ago against Florida. They'd love nothing more than to run this football and pick up the 1st down or get in the end zone.
There's the zone read.
Pull it. He's got the 1st down, short of the goal line, but Fromm has the 1st down to make it 1st and goal.
We talked about that early in the game, that the eyes in the sky, Jim Chaney and his staff would be seeing that and use it at their disposal. Here's exactly what we're seeing. You're going to see this edge defender come down. Fromm's eyes are riveted on him, and around he goes with the ability to make the 1st down.
Got 2 Wildcat defenders on that one. It took them 2 quarters to come back to it, but we alluded to it early on in the 1st quarter. A huge pickup in the 1st down to get inside the 5-yard line for the Bulldogs.
Georgia down near the goal line, 1st and goal from the 4. Is Fromm out of the shotgun. Holyfield has it. Holyfield pulses, stretches. He is in. Touchdown, Georgia.
This is just bull elk on bull elk. He is absolutely just going to carry Cash Daniel into the end zone. That is powerful, powerful stuff.
The Sam Pittman coached offensive line showing up on the road. To win on the road, you got to play good defense and run the football. This offensive line unit been banged up all season long, showing up here when it matters most.
Blankenship TD is good. Kentucky had given up only 12 touchdowns on the year. Georgia has 3 of them. Realer than real deal Elijah Holyfield.
Untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
The Kentucky Wildcat fans were ready for an epic celebration with an epic win, but Georgia rolled into Kroger Field and 21-3. There's only 6 possessions for Georgia. 3 touchdowns, 2 fumbles, 1 3 and out. Excellent offensive efficiency against the nation numbers-wise. Top scoring defense. Clemson coming in, touchback. Let's now check in with John Schritt.
All right, here we go. So you guys mentioned all those missed tackles by Kentucky, and that's the first thing Mark Stoops told me coming out of the halftime. He talked to his team, and he said, look, we've got to wrap up guys. We've got to finish tackles. And on offense, we've got to finish drives. Now, there is good news for Kentucky. Benny Snell looked to be banged up towards the end of that first half, but he is good to go here in the second half for the Wildcats. Okay?
That's good news for them. He is their power running back, leads the SEC in rushing yards per game, guys. And I think that this drive right here by Kentucky could be the most important of their entire season to get themselves back in this game by putting a drive together.
And Wilson to throw on 1st down, and it is a busted play, incomplete. Here comes a flag.
They're going to have a conversation here. I don't think he got out of the pocket. Ball across the line of scrimmage. Yeah, there you go.
This was Snell's injury. And then now the discussion of whether this is going to be grounding Wilson.
Terry Wilson throws the ball away, which is...
Intentional grounding, offense number 3. Loss of down at the spot of the foul, 2nd down.
want to start with the decision to throw it on first down, first possession of the second half with Snell back out on the field.
Aaron just talked to you about how important this drive is, and Eddie Grand trying to conjure up some measure of explosive play. They have been stuck in the mud offensively, and to give their defense life as well as get this crowd back into the game, they're trying to manufacture something. That just was ill-advised there.
So essentially a sack out of the grounding, and Wilson will throw that. Snell, no room in the open field as the Dogs converge, led by Monty Rice, the sophomore from Madison, Alabama.
Benny Snell is underutilized as a wide receiver, but here they get him out. He usually stays in protection, but there's Monty Rice, the young and up-and-coming player, showing Kentucky what it looks like to finish when you tackle.
3rd and long right here. You can see they put the big basketball player from Iowa into the ball game, into the short side. They tried this last time in the first half, trying to give him a shot down the field, but he has safety help right now. I think they've got to come to the field, see if they can muster up this first down.
Wilson forced into 3rd and long, 3rd and 12. Great grab by Bowden, but he's well short. Only at the 30, needed 5 more yards. McGee makes sure that it's 4th down, and the Cats have no choice but to punt it away. AT, you said it was the critical drive of the season for Kentucky to get back in the game. They elect to throw it on first down. Intentional grounding, 3 and out.
On the first play of the game, they threw it and they completed it and they moved the sticks. I don't mind that play call, but another penalty really putting a damper on an offense that struggled to be able to find anywhere near the explosivity that we've seen from Georgia today.
Duffy hits it right around the 20. Godwin is back, calls for the fair catch. Godwin backs up, grabs it at the 15. Nice catch on the fair catch by Terry Godwin. And with 8:49 to go in the 3rd, no smiles for the Wildcat fans here in Lexington.
56-yard punt by Duffy.
The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft, Napa, Ram Trucks, and by Progressive Insurance. The 1950 Kentucky Wildcats, led by Bear Bryant, the only outright SEC champions in Kentucky football history. So Tulane and Georgia Tech have more SEC titles than does Kentucky. There's also a disputed national championship that year. Now that we're in the no more disputed national championship, no more shared SEC titles era, very clear what's on the line here today and moving forward.
And that's what made today so special. You can see these blue-clad folks all just eager to see their Cats get back into this game, but it's a poor start to the second half on both sides of the ball.
Fromm gives it to Harrion. So Harrion gets the first down carry, and that means a rest for Elijah Holyfield and DeAndre Swift. I guess a rare rest at this point for Holyfield and Swift. You add into these touch numbers 3 catches for DeAndre Swift as well.
Well, these two bring so much to the table. Elijah Holyfield, more the power runner, showing some patience, a lot like Benny Snell, but it's DeAndre Swift's speed both in the run and pass game. In the perimeter, he was virtually uncoverable early on in the first half here. Expect him to start to get some touches to get that speed on the edge.
So the offensive touches are even, and now DeAndre Swift breaks it again all the way for the sophomore from Philly, DeAndre Swift. 84 yards. Touchdown, Georgia.
Swift says it all.
Certainly got the right last name, doesn't he?
Oh, my.
So I was talking about that drive before. This one was so important because Georgia is gashing this Kentucky Wildcat defense that had been really stout against the run. But this banged-up offensive line for the Bulldogs is showing up in a big, big way.
Blankenship boots it through, and now Georgia on the huge run from Swift, up 28-3. With an eye on Atlanta again and beyond. DeAndre Swift has him singing, "All hail the dear old Georgia." Well, in the Bluegrass State, with all the Wildcat fans in blue, it's pretty easy to identify the brave Georgia fans who now have bragging rights on their buddies in the row.
It's
so
not
far.
exactly where's Waldo.
No.
Yeah, big runs don't happen in a vacuum. Here's Trey Hill, the center, creating that nice wave, but take a look right here. J.J. Jeremiah Holloman doing a good job coming in and blocking and sealing Mike Edwards, the safety.
Lonnie Johnson, the corner, has to replace when his safety gets taken up by the wide receiver. He has to replace him. He's got to have the same tailback eyes that the tailback has. Unfortunately, he was out of position, and the rest, as they say, is history.
With that 83-yard touchdown run, Swift has his career high. Blankenship's kickoff is another touchback. No chance for a big run back like Kadarius Toney in Jacksonville. CBS Super Bowl season continues tomorrow. Regional action including a bitter rivalry. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Two young guns battle it out. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs against Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Check your local listings and kick off your day with the NFL Today, presented by Jeep at noon Eastern. Mr. Mahomes has been just fun to watch.
Eddie Grant has to come out of his original game plan now. Down 25, you've got to start getting some chunks, which means Terry Wilson's arm's going to be more of a factor here. Look for up-tempo, look for them to try to loosen this thing up a little.
Wilson throwing on first down. It is caught. That was a tight jump ball caught by C.J. Conrad, who had the game winner at Missouri, the 10th TD catch of his career.
And that was Tate Crowder, the glue player on defense and special teams that was in coverage there. Wilson was extremely accurate in the first half, completing a lot of his balls. But to your point, Rick, I think they've got to do a better job of pushing the football down the field, and tempo will help them, just like it did at the end of the Missouri game.
12 completions at only 86 yards for Wilson. Benny Snell Jr., nothing there. Jonathan Ledbetter loads up on Benny Snell. Well, got enough.
First down.
Yeah, first down. Just got just enough.
First down, Kentucky.
These plays got to start coming in a little quicker. There's got to feel some rhythm. They're going to climb back into this game. They're not only going to need some good play on the field, but they're going to need some energy from these fans.
Look at that. Kentucky averaging 214 yards per game, fourth in the conference. Only 68 today against this banged-up Bulldog defense.
Kentucky forced into throwing. They're last in the SEC passing yards a game. Wilson eludes the first man, and now Wilson goes on the roll. And a missed opportunity by Tate Crowder in the backfield had Wilson lined up. Terry able to escape.
That's what Terry Wilson can do. In the Florida game earlier in the year, he had 70 yards rushing on scramble plays alone. He had 105 in the game, but 70 of them were unscripted, where the coaches are in the box saying, no, great play.
You sound like you've been
guilty
there,
of that many times.
No, yes.
No, yes. This Georgia defense does a great job of disguising coverages. Terry Wilson has to make good decisions to protect this football.
Wilson second and 4. Wanted to get it to Snell, and now Wilson making a good decision, protecting the football, getting a first down, and getting out of bounds. This time Herring and Davis had a chance, couldn't bring him down.
When you run man coverage, go ahead and roll it, guys. The defense turns its back to the line of scrimmage. Nobody's paying attention. Freeze it. Everybody's in man coverage. Connected. That leaves Terry Wilson's route to be able to pick up the first down wide open. Good job taking advantage of the tight coverage by the Bulldogs there.
Just across the 50. Wilson. Yes, you saw it coming. Natrez Patrick nearly got his hands on a pick.
This was almost the play they called for the touchdown, and you can see a little bit of hesitation coming off the ball, but the ball has to be thrown on time. It's an anticipation throw, which by definition is a ball that's on its way. When the receiver looks for it, it's halfway there. That ball was late and almost a disaster.
And that's been one of the things that he struggled with, is anticipating and just letting the ball rip.
Confidence is key. Mark Stoops told us he's played the whole way. Gunnar Hoke played a couple series last week. Nothing much doing for Snell on first down. He has been contained. On second down, now we got third.
3rd and 10 here. Now, as a coordinator, you've got to decide, if I get 2 plays here, I can throw something underneath and get my 5 and 6 yards, or do I need to get all of it? That's the head coach's job, to let Eddie Grand know here what he's going to do with 4th and 5.
And here's Wagner up here at the top of the screen. He's a big target. Safety's on the hash.
On 3rd and 9, pressure picked up. Wilson releases. Pass interference coming on DeAndre Baker, and locked up with Wagner. Aaron, just what you saw.
Yeah, we talked about that matchup. We saw it early in the game.
Defense, number 18. 15-yard penalty.
This is such a hard job for the defender, because you're trying to do everything right, and you're trying to have the same right to the football that the offensive player does, but hands almost always go the way of the defender.
And I see why Kirby Smart is upset. It looked like Wagner was the one that pulled DeAndre Baker down. I think looking at that again, that was pretty clean coverage.
That's what I just said. It almost always goes against the defender.
It's Wagner right there with that right hand on that shoulder pad cap, and that's what's got Kirby Smart so frustrated, and he's right.
Wilson to the outside, that's Bowden. Blockers, Bowden inside the 20, inside the 15. I think it's about Wagner. He doesn't have a catch yet, but he's drawn 2 big flags. One in Columbia, one here on DeAndre Baker.
And Rick, I'm not surprised to see Lynn Bowden get back into this football game. He was such a playmaker. He's a guy that can give him a spark. We saw what he was able to do on the punt return. Give him the football in space and let him make plays against this athletic defense like he just did there.
Nearly the first explosive play, explosive defined by 20 yards or more.
Wilson 1st and 10, fake to Snell, keep it. Ridden down just inside the 10. Richard LeCount makes the stop.
Down here in the red zone, a quarterback's legs can be deadly. That's the fake toss back to the quarterback power with the counter up inside. That right side of the offensive line had some really good success, but Georgia making some adjustments defensively and basically just winning their one-on-one matchups. This second medium call, the call sheet is wide open. Play action down here with a tall wide receiver group could be effective.
And barring a huge negative play, this is 4-down territory. You have to get a touchdown here to get back, give yourself hope to get back in the game.
Best drive since our only scoring drive in the second quarter. Snell will take it across the goal line. Touchdown, Kentucky at last.
A brilliant drive. When you had to have it, they came up with it. And their alpha dog, Benny Snell, finishes it off.
That's the drive that they needed with another penalty with jaw jacking.
Here comes another flag, like you said, and
if it's 71 second, he'll be ejected.
I don't believe it is.
Lynn Stenberg, he already had one for this.
After the play, a sportsmanlike conduct foul, number 65, grabbing an official.
Wow.
Number 65 is disqualified. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's Bunchy Stallings, an all-SEC.
They got to get him out of there.
Player of the week, and he's still jacking. This is the inexperience of this moment that is too big for these players. You want to have a physical identity and have some physicality to you, but Bunchy Stallings just made an extremely selfish decision that hurt this ball club.
So West at safety has been ejected for targeting. And now Bunchy Stallings for grabbing an official. He's been ejected on offense for Kentucky. And just when the Cats were ready to celebrate, finally getting in the end zone and Snell getting 1,000 yards, Stallings is booted, and you look up at the scoreboard and say, hey, we got 7. But we still trail in this game by 18 points, and it is getting late in Lexington. 28-10 Georgia on Kentucky. Let's go back to the penalty that earned Bunchy Stallings an ejection from this game. The center judge, Jason MacArthur.
There's Stallings there, and you see Jason MacArthur, their jaw jacking. He's trying to get the situation closed down. He's talking to Stallings. Stallings frustrated right there with the open hand slap to the stomach. Drew the penalty. Stallings is frustrated, you get it, but he took the bait that Georgia laid out, and Georgia is going to take advantage of now 2 key players, one on each side of the ball for the Wildcats. Inexcusable.
Aaron, you made the point selfish, and it is. It's an emotional game. We all understand that, but you can't let your emotion get to the point where you are going to take things into your own hands. Bunchy Stallings, too important to this team to do that and lose his opportunity to continue in this ball game.
Dennis boots it away. Inside the 15, a chance for Hardman across the 35, and Hardman to near the 40-yard line on the short kickoff. Let's take a look at the GMC game changer. DeAndre Swift has certainly been that.
Well, he is a player that has an innate ability to put his foot in the ground and make people miss. He changes direction at full speed, here dragging defenders after making people miss, Rick, and then the big 63-yarder thanks to some good blocking.
Yeah, he has all the tools, right? That play before, it looks like he's a skier, just absolutely hitting the mogul and then crushing it downhill. Unbelievable weapon, and obviously fully healthy now.
Now it's Elijah Holyfield's turn in the backfield. He already has a touchdown run as well. Holyfield gets a couple. You know, you think about this a couple years ago, Georgia came here and
Cade Mays is down. The true freshman that's playing for the injured Ben Cleveland, who is here on site and dressed, and we may see if Mays can't come back into this game. But man, another brutal injury potentially for this Georgia offensive line.
Dogs have already lost Lamont Gilliard at center, and now right guard Cade Mays is down. Cade Mays headed to the sideline, and Aaron, the injuries on the Georgia offensive line are starting to mount.
They certainly are. They're down Lamont Gilliard, who left the game earlier. There you see Mays, and it's hard to see what happens there, but Rick, you know better than anybody.
Rolled into his back of his legs right here.
There's just some crazy stuff that goes down inside there. This offensive line is going to need to finish this game out. Going to be some new faces, I think. It's Kendall Baker is going to be the replacement.
And Justin Fields is in at quarterback on 2nd and 8. So Baker in at right guard. Handing off Holyfield, right side. Holyfield near the 45. Easily picking up a first down.
And how about that? Jim Chaney putting in the backup quarterback and running to the right side where you just lost your starting right guard. Talk about having continuity up front. This offensive line is the bread and butter. The identity of this team is to be physical in the trenches. And Georgia doing a masterful job against one of the better defenses in the entire country this afternoon.
Empty formation here. Look for Fields to take off.
Watch his legs.
Sure enough, Fields, he slips and then slips through. And then takes a pop. That was close, really close to late. Coming from Carter. And talking about that Georgia offensive line, you also factor in Andrew Thomas, had the left ankle versus South Carolina, and the right ankle versus Florida, so they've had to shift. Cleveland's just coming back. Gilliard's gone down. That's led to Hill playing at center. 2 turnovers on awkward snaps. Mays is down. And yet, through it all, Georgia's rolling up near 300 yards at the end of the third quarter.
Against the #1 scoring defense in the country.
Holyfield, cut back, 2nd and 2. Easily first down, shoved out. The Dogs just keep on running against the Cats.
Somewhere this spring, this film's going to be on in high schools across the country, teaching crack replace principles. Wide receivers coming in to block safeties, corners have to be in position to replace the safety as a tackler. They have not done so nearly well enough today, and it's the reason Georgia is having their way. And it goes back to their wide receivers being absolutely into the blocking piece of this offense.
And that was Tyler Simmons, and that's the expectation in that room, a bar raised by Ridley and Holloman.
Those numbers against the Cats easily the season high. Harrion wrestled down this time, and that was Devontae Robinson with a nice tackle.
These are the type of ball games when you're on the road. We're at the tail end of the third quarter. They may get one more playoff, but Georgia's now going to start to go into a little bit of ball control.
Absolutely. I was just going to say it. This is where Kirby whispers to Jim Chaney, hey, don't want you to take the foot off the gas pedal, but we can take a little bit more time between plays.
So they will take it down inside of 10 seconds before they snap it. Fromm goes under center. 2nd and 5. Fake it to Harrion. Fromm on the roll. That's complete. On the edge. And lost out of bounds, but it was out of bounds. Godwin makes the grab. He's short of the first down. Kentucky had allowed only 6 rushing touchdowns on the season through 8 games. Through 3 quarters, Georgia has 3 rushing touchdowns. Tack on a passing touchdown by Jake Fromm. And despite the TD for Kentucky here in the third, we go to the fourth quarter. Georgia is closing in on another trip to the SEC championship game. Headed to the fourth, 28-10, Dogs. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans brings you today's Scholar Athletes. Jackson Harris for Georgia, David Bouvier for Kentucky. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is showing their commitment to the investment of our future by donating $1,000 to the Georgia and Kentucky General Scholarship Funds. We begin the fourth quarter, 3rd and 1, Justin Fields, and a quarterback for the Bulldogs. Fields on 3rd and 1, good block, has the first down inside the 15-yard line.
Kentucky went to zero coverage, which is the most you can do, the most you can sell out to stop that play, but because your running back is also your quarterback, you still have a hat for a hat. Justin Fields taking advantage of a nice zone scheme.
Really nice job by the left side of that offensive line. Andrew Thomas, Solomon Kindley. Charlie Werner was over there and got a nice kick-out block as well, and then the speed. Justin Fields hit it up inside as we take a look at another downed Kentucky player.
Tymir Dubose back on his feet, headed to the Kentucky sideline. So Bohanna, starting nose guard, missed one play earlier. Dubose will head to the Kentucky sideline here.
Critical for Kentucky here to maintain any hope to hold Georgia to a field goal. It's a 3-score game then. If they score a touchdown and convert the extra point, it becomes a 4-score game, and that's a problem given we've got 15 minutes to play.
Let's say it's a big problem.
Yeah, this is a team that's been no stranger to comebacks, but it's not built with an offense that can do so to close those leads in short periods of time. That's what was so impressive about that last drive against Missouri a week ago.
Fromm 1st and 10. Fake it. Fromm looking back across where to go with the football. It is caught short gain, but Simmons manages to haul it in at the 11.
What a fantastic job by Fromm, just extending that play and giving it a chance.
Let's check in with John.
Well, guys, yet another offensive lineman for Georgia going down who will not return. Cade Mays, we saw him leave the game a short while ago. A right shoulder injury. He will not return to this game, guys.
Yikes.
It's a great job by Tyler Simmons just holding position on the sideline there and making a secure catch.
But Fromm wanted to go backside, took a peek, and said, let me just come front side.
It was designed to throw a throwback. It wasn't there. That's the experience factor of Jake Fromm.
Excellent job.
And yet he's only a sophomore. Swift shaking his way inside the 5. Edwards makes the stop. Close to first and goal. We will see.
Size of Georgia just wearing down this Kentucky front.
Watch these combination blocks backside, just get up to that second level. I mean, you can't block it any better than that. And you see Kendall Baker, the senior who's put his time in, played some left tackle a week ago, went down in the game. Now he's playing right guard, making huge blocks.
First and goal, Dogs. Swift just short. Georgia has been perfect in the red zone. Bohanna and Jordan Jones on the stop. Second and goal.
You go back to when Kirby Smart got the job at Georgia. One of his first hires was Jim Chaney, and his second hire was get Jim Chaney to go to Arkansas and get Sam Pittman, the offensive line coach. Brett Bielema was sick about it, but Sam Pittman has had a real impact on this program.
Second and goal. Swift stood up, driven back. So you got third and goal coming.
Well, here we are on the goal line again. I think Georgia wants to get that taste out of its mouth. 7 plays. They got stopped down here on one of the most impressive goal line stands by Florida's defense. Make no mistake about it. This is important, not only to this game, but to their pride.
On third and goal, Fromm looking for the sneak, and here's short. It will be fourth and goal for the Dogs again. This is looking like Jacksonville all over again.
What to do, what to do.
I think Kirby Smart, well, I tell you what he's going to do. He's sending his kick team. Get that 21-point lead.
I hate it. Come on, Kirby.
He doesn't like it either.
Doing?
He's angry again.
That's the worst thing you can do with an offensive line. These guys have been lathered up. It was a sneak. Let them come off the ball and bow their back. They've been doing a good job all game long. You understand the call, but it's decisions like this that
like
offend.
A true O-lineman. I'm going to speak like a head coach. He's doing the right thing here.
Oh my gosh, that is heartbreaking to the big dudes up front who have played extremely, extremely well here in this ball game.
Chip shot for Rodrigo Blankenship. Kentucky would need 3 touchdowns in 12-15.
Man, hand the ball to DeAndre Swift. They ain't been able to tackle him yet. All right, let me let it go.
It's nice here.
And a flag down.
False start. Offense. Number 69.
Aaron, I can tell you exactly what Kirby Smart's telling his offensive linemen. How many chances do you need? It will be a focus of practice. Auburn lies ahead, but they have to get these 3 points and make it a 21-point lead.
Kirby's saying, man, that's really frustrating to me.
Lip reading by Aaron Taylor. Lip reading and editing by Aaron Taylor. So making a 23-yard field goal for Rodrigo. The field goal is good. So, Georgia at the goal line. The discussion continues between Jim Chaney, Kirby Smart, Mark Stoops. Happy they held to the 3. Cats a glimmer of hope at 31-10. And now it's time for our ExxonMobil game recap with the SEC East title on the line. Sellout crowd here at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky. But it was Mecole Hardman who got it rolling for the Dogs with a 65-yard punt return, allowing Jake Fromm and the offense to go just 4 plays and 23 yards for the first touchdown. High snaps from Trey Hill led to 2 fumble recoveries by Josh Allen, keeping the Cats in the game. But DeAndre Swift did his best to run away from the Kentucky D, a career-high 151 yards. This an 83-yard touchdown, 1 of 2 for Swift, 1 of 3 rushing touchdowns on the day for Georgia against a Kentucky D that had allowed only 6 rushing touchdowns on the season, and now they trail by 21 in the fourth quarter.
Fellas, think about this. Kentucky's run defense only gave up 56 rushing yards to Mississippi State. Texas A&M had the most at 164 in their last 2 games combined with Vandy and Missouri. They only gave up 152 yards. Georgia is having by far the most success that Kentucky has allowed all season long, and they don't look like they're done yet.
If we were giving the analogy of a children's game to this game, it wasn't going to be hide and seek. It was going to be tug of war. This was going to be who could win the mosh pit, and Georgia clearly has dominated in the trenches.
Cats and Dogs, Peter Vickman's favorite SEC matchup. Blankenship's kick, another touchback. Chance to tell you that this Tuesday, Colbert's going live. Stephen breaks down the midterms as only he can. Don't miss a special election night late show live Tuesday on CBS.
All right, boys, Kentucky's got to go up tempo.
Yep.
You got to score 3 times. I know they've gone no huddle the entire game, but Eddie Grant's going to have to speed this up, and Terry Wilson's going to have to be spot on because you can't go backwards when you need scores and you need them quickly.
There's Lynn Bowden in the slot. They got to get him some touches.
Wilson looks to Bowden, coming up. So now Wilson on the run again. Wilson scrambling, dumps it out of bounds. Let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York studio for a Zaxby's update.
All right, Carter, Missouri in the swamp. Drew Lock 0-9 all-time against ranked teams, but throws his second touchdown of the day to Cam Scott. It is 28-10 right now. Tigers on top midway through the third quarter. Back to you.
What a huge bounce-back game for Drew Lock in Missouri, who didn't have a first down in the second half against the Cats. Wilson lines up on 2nd and 10. Complete. First down, Kentucky. Richardson on the ground.
It's called a snag pattern. You have the outside receiver come inside, just sit down. You have a flat off it and a corner behind it. You just read off the squeeze. Wilson does a nice job of taking the snag.
That's only Richardson's 5th catch of the year, and what you like about that
feel
route,
some measure of hurry up, don't you, Aaron?
That's what he seemed to do really well with in the last week against Missouri. Probably his best drive of the season throwing the football.
The outside across the 50, first down. That's Richardson again. It's you said he just had his 5th catch, now it's 6.
Well, he's somebody that they've wanted to get involved in the offense, but it really seemed like Wilson was locked into Bowden. Dorian Baker's also somebody that has some explosivity to him. These guys have to find a way to push the football down the field. This is an extremely good secondary by Georgia. This little dink and dunks aren't going to make up this 3-touchdown lead that the Bulldogs have.
And you know Mel Tucker knows that too.
Here's the snag again.
There Wilson, set! Loose football, but he was down.
Monty Rice.
Yep, Monty Rice gets the sack.
I asked Mel Tucker this week, is Monty Rice the next Roquan Smith? Obviously the great linebacker who left a year ago to join the Chicago Bears as a top 10 pick. He says, I don't want to put that on him, but if you're asking if he's real good, he's real good.
It's just great scheme right there. It was full slide protection, meaning everybody's going to their left on the offensive line. Nobody's there to pick up Rice, and that's their 3rd sack of the day. 4th. Georgia came into this game with only 10 and were dead last in the SEC. They've been balling out.
So Wilson 2nd and 23 to the outside. That is complete.
What a great throw.
Yep.
What a great throw. When you can throw from the middle of the field or even closer to the far hash and hit something on the sideline, 15, 20 yards down the field, that's called NFL caliber arm strength.
And I like what I'm seeing out of Terry Wilson. We enjoyed our conversation with him. He's a young kid, but his future is extremely bright.
On 3rd and 5, where he's been perfect. Stands in the pocket, delivers. Good patience. Finds A.J. Rose for a first down to near the 30.
Great job of getting all the way through his read, not panicking. Again, dual threat quarterbacks usually resort to their strength, right? Their legs. Look at him just flick that thing out. He's trying to, that's called getting the baby out of the burning house.
And that was his 3rd backside read, something that offensive coordinator Eddie Graham told us they weren't going to let him do.
Got a wheel route.
Caught! After all, Rose somehow holds it in. Rose goes rolling. Here's a touchdown. A.J. Rose with the juggling TD catch and run for the Cats.
This ball should have been a back shoulder, but it bounces off the defender's back shoulder back into his hands. Sometimes luck is a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is. And A.J. Rose, the backup running back for Benny Snell, gets his hand out there, but just missed that time by Tay Crowder and just drags defenders. What a heads-up smart play. It's been a special season for Kentucky, and that could be the play that starts to close this gap to get them back into this ball game. Wildcats still showing some life. Gotta love it.
Or on for the PAT. urgency for Kentucky. 51 yards in 3 plays, including A.J. Rose. Somehow keeps 2 hands on it. On U of K. Can they do it again? The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Chick-fil-A, ExxonMobil, Aflac, and by Today's Military. Somehow, A.J. Rose into the end zone against the Dogs, and so Kentucky would love to add to this, that miraculous untimed down win in Missouri, just the latest of the incredible comebacks by Kentucky, AT.
It certainly was. This team has heart, man. They've earned their way to be in this ball game playing for the SEC East title because they're a senior-laden, experienced group. It hasn't been pretty this year for Kentucky, but they're a seasoned group that plays with a ton of heart, that plays with a chip on their shoulder. I'm not surprised at all that they're trying to crawl their way back into this ball game, but how they manage things from here on out will go a long way to how successful they are.
Touchback, let's check in with Adam Zucker in New York.
All right, Carter, 1 spot ahead of the Dogs. Number 5, Michigan, dominating Penn State right now. Tommy Stevens in for Trace McSorley against the nation's top total defense. Brandon Watson with the pick 6 the other way. 28-0 now. Nittany Lions at risk of their first shutout since 2001. That was against Michigan too, guys.
Yikes. And yet Georgia at number 6. Still a 2-touchdown lead. And all right, Rick, what are you thinking here as far as clock management timeouts?
You're breaking up the final 9 minutes if you're Mark Stoops. You're saying, I need the ball back by 6, which means I may tell Mark House to take some chances he might not otherwise not take as a defensive coordinator.
Holyfield, left side, pushes across the 30. That banked up Georgia offensive line still pushing the Cats, still pushing them around. And coming up later, we will have the Napa play of the game.
And this is the worst of all situations if you're Kentucky to leave them 2nd and 1. You would rather have to make a first down so you have another chance to get 3 downs and get them off. They have an opportunity now to bleed all this time and also get themselves a first down.
If you're the Bulldogs, it's 4-minute offense mindset. It's taking over at the line of scrimmage. They've done an amazing job of that today, almost 300 rushing yards. Remember, a year ago, they rushed for almost 400 yards on this defense. It's quite a bit better this year.
On 2nd and 1, Holyfield push, moves the chains, first down, Dogs. Chance to run more of that clock. Beatty is down for Kentucky. He made that stop. The senior corner from Tampa.
Derek Beatty for the Wildcats.
Now this is interesting. As an injured player, Kentucky will have time to administer, but the clock will go to 25 seconds rather than 40.
Derek Beatty is on the Kentucky sideline getting attention on the neck. Chris Westry, the senior from Orange Park, Florida, takes his place at corner. Let's go back to today's questions, and Aaron, I would say definitively you got an answer to yours.
It's a line of scrimmage league. If you want to win on the road, you have to run the football. The question was whether or not this banged-up offensive line from Georgia would get it done, and that answer is clearly yes. 285 yards, a season high so far.
And when we talk about who would stay on the field longer, remember the big edge Kentucky had early in the game, 16 and change to just 4 and change for Georgia. Georgia's running game and their ability to kind of take some clock off this deal has almost got it back to even, just about a minute and a half disparity at this point.
Dogs led this game 28-3 midway through the 3rd. Kentucky trying to pull off an epic comeback.
Tackling been a problem for Kentucky defensively, and they need to get this ball back. Sometimes when people try to get the ball back, they compromise their tackling skills by trying to get a strip. With the speed that these backs have, I think it's more important for Kentucky to be sure tacklers than to try to rip the ball out.
Clock rolling. Inside kid. That's Stanley, and Stanley across the 50. Stanley goes sprinting. The senior special team star out of the injury timeout. Chaney gets it right to Jason Stanley.
Kentucky trying to clamp down on those gaps, keep those little 4 and 5 yard carries from happening. Jim Chaney says, I'll just run around him. Fly sweep, and Stanley does the rest.
And Jordan Jones, the middle linebacker, was peeking inside, took himself out of position, and there was no second level help. Thankfully, Mike Edwards got there after the speedy Stanley.
That flag was a sideline warning. It's a 34-yard gain for Jason Stanley. And dejected Kentucky fans, you're hoping to get a quick 3 and out, get the football back with that, as you said, 6 minutes. Well, we're now under 7, Rick.
And Kirby Smart doesn't need to put the ball in the air anymore. He can run the ball. They're well within Ricardo Blankenship's range. A field goal makes it a 3-score game and can effectively end the hopes for the Wildcats.
Big boy football.
From Swift. When does Kentucky start using those 3 timeouts? You consider it at this point, this late? I mean, this far down?
I think he's going to wait till around the 5-minute mark to determine that. But obviously, as he gets closer here, it's in the back of his mind right now. It's kind of each guy's got his own breaking point, right? Yeah. I would wait till 5, but there's no question he's considering it at this time.
And you're hoping like crazy and maybe take one if your defense can get a stop or a lost yardage play here somehow. You want to be successful to be able to try and force Georgia behind the chains, but they just haven't done it.
From, there's a play action. They will put it in the air. From, end zone, tipped, incomplete. Stopping it at 5:55, and Mike Edwards has saved the Kentucky chances for now.
You love the aggressive nature of Georgia's play call there. Jim Chaney and Kirby Smart saying, let's take a shot. But the clock now stops, and you're 2 scores ahead, and you've kept Ricardo Blankenship with not anything what we'd call a chip shot.
Ton of speed on the field right now. The perimeter runs.
I said Ricardo. I meant Rodrigo. I apologize. I wanted to dress up as Rodrigo as for Halloween.
It usually equals 3. No
Those
matter
glasses
what.
are a must.
And now Kirby Smart timeout. Used too much time prior to 3rd and 9, and Kirby has a look at Jake Fromm trying to get it back in. So Georgia forced to use a timeout. It is 3rd and 9. Can the Cats get a stop and stay in the game?
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads college football in receiving yards?
Only 4 games left in the regular season. 23rd ranked Fresno State looks for their 7th straight win. They battle the UNLV Rebels tonight, 10:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Then Ferraros. 3rd and 9 here for Georgia. Kentucky needs a stop, maybe a timeout.
Recall, here's Justin Fields at quarterback. Is this the down you let him throw his first collegiate pass? Unlikely.
Doubtful. They brought him in because of his legs and his ability to create on the ground.
They anticipated 0 coverage. You're getting quarters look right here.
Lots of bodies near the line of scrimmage.
0.
Now Fields 3rd and 9, picking his way across the left side. Fields pushing.
Unbelievable.
Real close on this spot. Fields stretches the football out.
I think he got it.
He did get it. Move the chains. First down. Georgia. Clock rolling. 5:43.
Great job.
Anticipating 0 coverage, they went to a formation that allowed them to get a hat for a hat, Aaron.
And some great blocking up front. Isaac Nada came across in motion, kicked out the end, which created the seam. The left side of that offensive line and tight ends doing their job to try to ice this game.
Desperation now for Kentucky. They're hoping for a 3rd fumble recovery. Have 2 of them from Josh Allen. So selling out now. 5:11. No timeout yet.
See Jordan Jones celebrating there, but you may have won that battle, but you're losing this war. Kentucky has to try to find a way to dislodge this football. And if you're the Bulldogs, ball security is critically important. Remember, we've seen a couple turnovers on bobbled snaps and exchanges in this very part of the field. With Justin Fields in there, that center quarterback exchange or the mesh is critical down here.
One of the most important things for championship caliber football teams is to extinguish the clock. The 4-minute drive. This is a beautiful drive by Kentucky. It started with 9 minutes.
Snap it near 4.5. Fields, nothing there. But a chance to get it down under 4. I mean, you're snapping it near 3:30 now.
Mark Stoops knows he needs 2 scores, so he's hanging on to those timeouts like they're gold, and they are.
Snap it under 4 anyway. So it all boils down to this. Georgia wins. They get to play in the SEC championship game and a chance to go back-to-back. A rare opportunity. There's another Kentucky player down. This is Calvin Taylor Jr., who was down for the Cats, stopping the clock temporarily at 4:18. And we take a timeout. Jamar Boogie Watson was the injured Kentucky Wildcat, number 31. So he is on the sideline. Jordan Wright is into the game for Kentucky. It is 3rd and 10. 4 minutes, 18 seconds left. Kentucky 3 timeouts, haven't used one yet. And the clock is rolling, getting ready for 3rd down.
If you're Georgia, ball security is the utmost importance. Rick, do you think that the Bulldogs would try to take a shot at the end zone and put this game away and put the ball in harm's way, maybe a back shoulder or a fade where their guy gets it or it's out of bounds?
Potentially into the boundary, but I think they have such trust in Rodrigo Blankenship. I think you look for a ball that's going to center this in the center of the field.
From the quarterback, Holyfield in the backfield. Pressure coming from the Cats. Holyfield, left side. Nothing there, but now you're looking at...
There's your timeout.
Timeout number 1 used by Mark Stoops. Stops at 3:34. About a 38-yard field goal coming for Rodrigo Blankenship. Try and send the Dogs back to the SEC championship game. Rodrigo Blankenship, 2016 here, had a game-winning 25-yard field goal as a freshman. He went 4 for 4 in that game, and now a 38-yard field goal to make this a 3-score game, and all but ice it for the Dogs and send them to 8-1 and on to Atlanta again.
There's Ahmad Wagner standing up there. But just look back at the goalpost right there in the middle, the big, tall wide receiver trying to get the block.
Marta's hold. Rodrigo Blankenship's kick is good. 34-17, 3 minutes, 32 seconds left in the 4th. Jake Fromm beginning to lead. A Georgia celebration closing in on the SEC East Division title. Adam, BJ, and Houston Nutt will get you caught up on a very busy day on the college football postgame show presented by Capital One. The first of our top 10 doubleheader in the SEC with Alabama LSU to follow. 6th ranked Georgia 34-17 on Kentucky. Bowden from the end zone. Bowden brings it out. Across the 20. Bowden trying to give the Cats something special. Gets across the 35-yard line. Bowden nearly broke it. So tonight at 8 Eastern, the Home Depot SEC on CBS brings you the biggest game of the year when the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide head to Death Valley to take on the 3rd ranked LSU Tigers tonight, 8 Eastern, right here on CBS. An Alabama win, and they clinch their SEC West Division title and on to Atlanta.
College football fans across the country pulling for their teams to get to the college football playoff or pulling for Alabama. They do not want Alabama sitting there as a one-loss team.
Wilson complete on the edge. That's Bouvier. Aaron, you talked about at the very beginning of this that if Georgia wants to set themselves up as a dynasty-type team in the East, playing consistently against the winner of the West, this was a must-win game, and they needed to do it Georgia's way, and dare I say, mission accomplished.
They certainly had. They controlled the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the football, and these young players, especially on defense, really showing up.
Wilson tosses across the 50. That's Rose again.
These last few drives, guys, I've been really impressed with Terry Wilson. He's growing up right before our eyes. Remember, he's going to be the quarterback at Kentucky, barring somebody coming in and taking his job for the next 2 years. I think Eddie Grant and Mark Stoops got to be excited about what he can develop into.
There's a big recruiting win over Florida, too, coming out of junior college. That's Rose again. Rose just goes to a knee, couldn't keep his footing. But yeah, that was... I mean, when Dan Mullen got to Florida, he really wanted Terry Wilson. Florida State wanted him as well. And Mark Stoops and his staff did a great job of securing the commitment by Terry Wilson.
What I like about him is he's a pocket passer with mobility. He's got that moxie about him. Look at that ball and the location there. Puts it right on the hip of his receiver.
Yeah,
that control and location was beautiful.
It's a good throw, but it's ill-advised. You need to score. You got to get chunks of yardage. You cannot hit balls underneath the sticks and allow the change to continue to go if you're trying to get back into this game. I know it's a long shot, but you need to take shots down the field.
Wilson. Pop it out of bounds. That's Conrad. So, in the top 10, you have Georgia right now taking care of business, and fifth-ranked Michigan. Wow.
Of the 10 teams, only Oklahoma and Washington State, in my mind, don't control their own destiny.
Wilson pumps. Wilson Chase got a minute 45 as Wilson goes running. It all looks good for Wilson and the Cats. Only problem is you're down 34-17.
And that's the problem. It's just too little, too late. This offense and the way that they've got it spread out and letting Terry Wilson run and kind of throw the football is exciting. I think it bodes well for the future. But in this ball game with the SEC East on the line, you see Mark Stoops with his arms folded there. He knows it's almost academic from here on out unless something crazy happens with only a minute 43 left.
Wilson, second and one, end zone incomplete.
Getting back to that top 10 discussion, Michigan's drubbing of Penn State today is good, obviously, for the Wolverines. It's also great for Notre Dame because Notre Dame owns the only victory over Michigan. And should Notre Dame eventually, Aaron, earmuffs on this, if Notre Dame eventually becomes a one-loss team, if they have a victory over a dominant Wolverine team, it can compare nicely when they're looking at one-loss teams in the committee room.
And this is where we disagree, Rick, because if Notre Dame loses, they're not going to be there. They don't have that 13th data point, I don't think, with the conference championship game that is going to allow them to do that. There's no question that week one win against Michigan looms large and is impressive. With only 12 games, I think the Irish have to stay undefeated to have a shot.
And speaking of national championship implications, Georgia has a 6 next to its name. They will play in Atlanta for the SEC East title, minute 36 away from that, the SEC title, and then beyond. Where does this Georgia team fit into the national championship picture at this point?
If they can run the ball like they ran the ball today.
Loose football, and that will do it. The Dogs put an exclamation point on a dominant performance in Lexington, Kentucky.
Absolutely beautiful effort on both sides of the line of scrimmage by Georgia. And that was considered to be the strength of Kentucky coming into the game.
It was a strength-on-strength matchup that Georgia won. This defense that has been down and battered and doesn't have a whole lot of depth. All the leadership that left a year ago rose to the occasion on the road and out-big back an extremely physical offensive and defensive line. We talked about Georgia and their run to see if this was a dynasty in the making. This was a must-win for them, and guess what, fellas? They stepped up and rose to the challenge. This Georgia team is for real.
Ledbetter has a strip. Clark recovers it. A minute 30. Chance to stop the clock for Kentucky, but that's it. Swift. Now let's get back to that discussion now that it's all but official that Georgia is playing for the SEC Championship and where they fit in, Rick, with the national championship picture.
Well, the number one issue for Kirby Smart is how quickly can that offensive line get healthy.
Yep.
If they can put together, obviously the results today were off the charts, but if they can get healthy in the offensive front so that they can do battle with an LSU, should it come down to that, if they can do battle with an Alabama, should it come down to the bat, it will be a huge shot in the arm for this particular team because they have the weapons. They have the weapons, and these young kids on defense have absolutely stepped up.
That, to me, is really the story. And this offensive line that is battered and had 2 starters went down, just rushed for 332 yards on one of the nation's best defenses. Even banged up, this Georgia team found a way to get it done up front. Sam Pittman, the offensive line coach, should be commended.
Think about this freshman infusion on defense. Jordan Davis played in the defensive trenches. Brenton Cox, Tyson Campbell, Devontae Wyatt, Adam Anderson, Channing Tindall, Otis Reese. All of those true freshmen played a part in today's game and will continue to play bigger roles as the Bulldog season continues.
34-17, Georgia over Kentucky. Glory, glory, the Dogs will play for the SEC title again. A chance, a rare chance, to go back-to-back SEC champs. They win the East. They pushed around the 9th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. And so now it's official. Georgia, winners of the SEC East. Alabama has a chance to clinch the West tonight against the Tigers.
A hearty congratulations to the Bulldogs. They were challenged after the loss down in Baton Rouge. They came back, knocked off Florida and Jacksonville, and obviously a dominant performance here today in Lexington. They better be ready for Auburn. Auburn's going to feel good after that win today against Texas A&M.
And they certainly are, and they've got a defensive line that would love to take advantage of an offensive line that's a little banged up.
330 rushing yards in the game for Georgia. So our play of the game presented by Napa Auto Parts, the longest of them all. DeAndre Swift's 83-yard touchdown run. 156 rushing yards on the day for Mr. Swift. Holyfield 115. They combined for 3 touchdowns. And Georgia runs away from Kentucky and on to Atlanta and beyond. 34-17, Georgia defeats Kentucky, and John Shrimpton is with Kirby Smart.
Coach, you came into the game with a banged-up offensive line. You lose 2 offensive linemen. How are you still able to have such an impressive run game?
Well, good backs, good recruiting, and toughness. Our kids are tough, resilient, they fight. Now, I want to give a lot of credit to Coach Stoops and his team. They got a bunch of seniors. They played really hard, but our guys played extremely physical today, answered the bell.
SEC East Division champs. What is so special about this year's team?
Well, I think this year's team's had to answer a lot of questions. They've had to battle, and it hadn't come easy. I mean, we didn't make it easy today. It never comes easy. And I want to give a lot of credit now to those 2 quarterbacks on our team. Justin Fields comes in the game and makes some huge plays for our team. He continues to get better. He had one of his best weeks of practice, and he did that after not even playing in the game, and Jake played well too.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you. Go Dogs.
So you can hold that up high now, Elijah Holyfield. Adam BJ Houston Nutt get you caught up on a very busy day in the college football postgame show presented by Capital One. Back to Atlanta for Georgia and a chance to join this elite group. Teams to win the conference title back-to-back years. Georgia won it in 17, a chance to go back and win it again in 2018. Our final score, 34-17 Dogs. So for Rick Neuheisel, Aaron Taylor, and John Shrimpton, I'm Carter Blackburn saying so long from Lexington. You've been watching the Home Depot SEC on CBS. We'll get you back to Adam Zucker and company for the college football postgame show presented by Capital One right after these messages.